Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
So much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes. On a Monday, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. Sacktown Sports, 11:40 a.m. Can't forget the call signs there. As we get you where you need to be in 4 hours, Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass for us as we get you ready, get you set for the Dallas Mavericks taking on your Sacramento Kings. Who's in? Who's out? One very, very important player that isn't playing. That'll be Domantas Sabonis out with that hamstring. A lot of people are really worried. The whole non-contact thing has kind of confused me, though, as people said, oh, man, non-contact injury, and he grabs for his hamstring. Aren't all hamstring injuries non-contact? It's just from running, right? I think people are so afraid when it comes to the ACLs and PCLs and MCLs and Achilles. That's what a hamstring injury is. I mean, me personally, I am not that worried. I know he's out today, but as someone who has pulled his hamstring time and time again, you really got to jack up a hamstring for it to keep you out for a long, long period of time. I'm not saying that Domantas Sabonis will be back next game or the game after that, but as far as injuries are concerned, hamstrings aren't at the top of my list for I'm very worried. You throw a knee out there, even the calf injuries worry me ever since that Kevin Durant situation and how it's your calf connected to your Achilles. That's the type of stuff that worries me. But a hamstring, soft tissue, it could be nagging for him. But for someone, and specifically the way Domantas Sabonis plays, he's not a running back. He's not a wide receiver. He's not a De'Aaron Fox type player. So So I'm not as worried. Now, I could be way off, okay? But I'll tell you this much. I wasn't way off, or I have not been way off so far as it pertains to your Sacramento Kings and this road trip. Now, hold on now. I'm not going to fully do my victory lap because it's not over yet. You got to get this W tonight. But if the Kings get this W and secure at worst a 3-1, and you know how I feel about the Nuggets, by the way, but playing without Domantas Sabonis could be tough. But if they secure at worst a 3-1 record on this road trip, when no one else believed, no one else on these airways believed, I heard 2-2. I heard 1-3. Hell, I heard 0-4. Now, again, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. But the Kings are in a good position tonight, which also scares me. And they do not lay down. I will give that Mavericks team their just due because no matter who they're throwing out there, whether it's Moses Brown for a game or two and Kyrie Irving just keeping everyone afloat with Klay Thompson, PJ Washington cannot stay on the court this season. No matter what they got going on, and Kessler Edwards playing center, those boys compete. So I'm not going to victory lap yet, but I will be very braggadocious tomorrow if the Mavericks get that loss and the Kings are 3-0 on this road trip. So we are going to have that conversation. How the Kings got to this position, that's by beating the Houston Rockets, who they own, by the way. I don't know why that is. And the Rockets kind of owned the Kings last season. Nobody really paid attention to how much the Rockets beat down on the Kings last season because we were all busy worried about how the Kings lost to the Pelicans 18 times. But the Rockets kind of had the Kings record last season, even a game where Şengün went out. It didn't really matter. The Rockets, they just were getting it done, and they were a lesser team. You know, they didn't even make the play-in. So this season, for the Rockets to be a better team, but not be able to beat the Kings for whatever reason it is. It's just a matchup thing. That's the reason. I think that is a feather in the cap of the Kings because that's a team who they had just beat the Bucks. Then they went on to beat the Spurs. They were trying to get their mojo back as they slip all the way from the 2nd seed to the 5th seed. And then on top of that, you're fully healthy, the Rockets are. You get Fred VanVleet back, who feels like he hasn't played in a very long time. Jabari Smith, who's been in and out. The first time you have your full roster, right, and your full lineup in months, and you're playing at home. Then on top of that, the ball tips off, and 2 seconds later, Domantas Sabonis out for the game. So everything was in the direction of the Rockets, and the Kings said, you know what, we're not going down. To me, that was one of the most Doug Christie type of wins you could ever cook up. That was just a look. It doesn't make a ton of sense why we're winning based on the numbers and based on the records, but we're just not going to let it happen. We know how important this game is. We know that we're kind of a good matchup against the Rockets for whatever reason. And you know what? Shout out to Kings Twitter, because somebody did chime in and say what the reason is. The reason is the Rockets at times just can't really shoot. And we know that's the Achilles heel of the Kings team. Amen Thompson, for as good as he is, that brother is a brick. He's not even a brick. He doesn't even attempt threes. Fred VanVleet, I have not seen him I know he made one. That was the first three at the end of the game. That was the first three I've seen Fred VanVleet make since the finals in 2019. He got paid, got generational wealth, and he never made a three again.
He's made an all-star team since then.
I haven't seen it. Whenever I watch Fred VanVleet, he is brick master flex. So you got that going on. Jabari Smith Jr. was probably the player of the game. And Şengün had a great game too without Sabonis. Şengün, I think, had 30 and 10. And Jabari Smith Jr., he was doing some things. The one guy they refused to guard who could have eventually killed them, but going back to the fact that they almost have too much talent right now with the Rockets, and also their team is a bit redundant right now. So Ime Udoka is struggling to keep in hot guys versus guys that normally go in the rotation, because Tari Eason couldn't miss. And that was the one guy that the Kings just couldn't figure out a way to guard, or somehow he ended up being wide open. But Tari Eason, he was in and out, right? Okay, there's redundancy there. You got Jabari Smith, you got Amen Thompson, you got Dylan Brooks. So there was a little bit of redundancy there. Tari Eason on a different team, if Tari Eason stays in that game, maybe it ends differently. But he had to get his time out so Ime Udoka could get other guys in. And when that happened, the Kings were able to take advantage. So between the lack of three-point shooting that the Rockets can have at times, and just honestly the rotation question marks that they have, and they'll figure it out, but that's why I felt good about the game on Saturday, because they're not going to figure it out in the first game back, where you got Fred VanVleet and other guys that haven't played in a while, and Jalen Green, I know he's a really good player. He struggles. And later on in the show, we're going to talk about guys that struggle against Keon Ellis and guys that play well against Keon Ellis. And is there a pattern there? I feel like I found a bit of a pattern, but ultimately the guys that Keon struggles against are just really dang good. And that's part of it too. So we'll break down the Rockets and everything that they did. Obviously, Jonas Valanciunas balled out and did his thing. And, you know, as much grief as the front office gets, they were really thin, and it was not sustainable. It was not sustainable, Domantas Sabonis, how he'd been playing. You know, you can look at this and say that this is really bad timing, but folks, Domantas Sabonis playing the minutes that he's been playing for basically the whole time he's been in Sacramento, this stuff is going to happen. And we saw it happen earlier this season. He ain't getting any younger. So just continuing, and honestly, if Jonas Valanciunas, or no disrespect to Alex Len, who looked like he was having a grand old time on the Lakers bench, happy for him. Hope he gets all the success that he wants in life. But having a serviceable center that can actually spell Domantas Sabonis could have prevented this from happening. But we ain't going to look back. We can only look forward. And the good news is that this injury didn't happen while, no disrespect whatsoever, while Alex Len was the one as the backup. And maybe we're seeing, I don't know, we're seeing a bunch of Trey Lyles and Alex Len if this happens and there's no Jonas Valanciunas. So I got to give credit where credit's due to the front office going out and get Jonas Valanciunas. I know there were people out there that thought that there were some question marks, but anytime you can get a starting center for somewhat of a discount, you do it. You do it. And that, win or lose, and positive or negative, that's what Monty has done. We are just, ever since moving off of De'Aaron Fox, we're just going to get talent in here, and we trust Doug, who we have invested in. We trust Doug to figure out a way to make it work. And on top of that, like we've said, you're running these dudes into the ground. You got 35, 36-year-old DeMar DeRozan playing a ridiculous amount of minutes. And now bringing in Jake LaRavia, you can spell him a little bit. You have Zack LaVine, who was playing a bunch of minutes in Chicago and is still playing a lot of minutes now. But with the combination of Malik and Keon Ellis, these guys, the numbers aren't as absurd as they were to start the season and before some of these moves were made. So Jonas Valanciunas joining the team is huge, and it gets highlighted even more with Domantas Sabonis' injury.
We have the meat.
With that being said, I love the Kings fans. You know I do. But a couple of them out there, and it is human nature. And I know some of y'all are ready for this conversation. But Domantas Sabonis gets hurt. And again, phone lines open all day long. You know how we get down on a Monday. Domantas Sabonis gets hurt. It didn't even take one full game, Kyle. It didn't even take one full game for some Kings fans to do the thing. And you know what I'm talking about with
frustrated and angry.
You know what I'm talking about with the thing. Domantas Sabonis making a lot of money. Some people think that he is limited in what he can do. Hey, Kings just beat the Rockets without Domantas Sabonis. We're not doing that, are we, people?
What are we doing?
Why? We don't have to do it.
What are we doing?
But this is the show of the people. And if you want to do it, 916-339-1140. If you want to do it. But if you call in, you better come correct if you are doing the thing. Also, yeah, that's exactly how I felt, because can we at least see 2 games before we do the thing?
What are we doing?
Please. Also, we say goodbye to one of the most memorable players on the Niners. We're not necessarily going to get into the cap and the dead cap and all this stuff. I want to simplify things. I want to get out the weeds with some of this stuff. When we talk about Debo on the Niners, was it a good move or not? Had you seen enough of Debo? As there's still things swirling around about Brandon Ayuk. Are the Niners doing the right thing? As you lose one of your weapons, you wake up this morning, do you feel better or worse about Brock Purdy? Is this about Brock? Is this about Juwan Jennings? Is this about Ricky Pearsall? So we're going to talk a little bit about the Niners as well as they move on from Debo. And by the way, I think Debo could maybe see a resurgence on those Commanders out there in Washington with Jaden Daniels. Huge show. I missed y'all. It's a Monday. Let's get into it on the other side as the Kings take down the Houston Rockets. And yeah, they still kind of play like an AAU team. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Hey, everybody, it's your boy Kyle Draper. You know I'm a big guy, right, everybody? So sometimes, even my SUV or sedan, I want a little more space. Maybe I want to take the fellas to the football game or to the basketball game. Maybe I want to go golfing. Well, Mercedes-Benz of Stockton has the perfect solution. They have a Vans Fleet Center, and they understand your business needs. They understand your personal needs as well. They have a great inventory and a huge selection. And plus, they have the perfect van to power your fleet, including the new fully electric e-Sprinter, alongside those reliable diesel options. So if you're looking for a new van just for personal reasons, or even for your business fleet, head on over to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. And get this, you can take advantage of their exclusive limited time 0% APR financing offer for up to 60 months on select models. So head down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton or online at mbfstockton.com and tell them Drape sent you.
Here come the Rockets with 1:30 to go. Lead pass broken up by Valanciunas and grabbed by Malik Monk. What an alert reach by Jonas Valanciunas as the Rockets were streaking to the rack. Speaking of streaking, here's Zack LaVine with a run to the rim and a double clutch throwdown. The two-hand flush. Oh, that could be a dagger. Still got 1:19 to go, but the lead's back to 12 at 113 to 101.
Allen Stiles,
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
On Sacktown Sports.
916-339-1140. You want to be part of the conversation. And the 916 gets the texting going. Phone lines are open. TC, we see you. You'll kick us off. Great leadoff hitter. Great leadoff caller. TC will be.
I don't know. TC's more like a two-hitter to me.
Why?
Because he brings the power, but, it's probably your best hitter. But no one wants to talk about it.
Yeah, two hitters have evolved. I got on some Red Sox and Orioles on in here. So don't get me started on baseball. I'll get off on a tangent. The 916 on the text line, first text of the day, says, what did you think of the DeMar DeRozan, Dylan Brooks double T? Yeah, I thought it was absurd. I mean, you cannot you say whatever you say, and I forget the name. I think it's Legends is the name of that account that finds all of the lip reading and will basically use subtitles to say what people were saying. I mean, DeMar was saying some crazy stuff, but you cannot push someone and both of you get a T. I thought that was ridiculous.
Isn't the dude who does that account the Legends of Winning guy?
I don't think so.
I thought that was the whole thing.
I hope not. I don't think so. I do not believe so. And yeah, I thought it was ridiculous, 916. I mean, Dylan Brooks put hands on DeMar, and then DeMar actually didn't do anything back. So I don't really know why DeMar also got a tech, but they're in Houston. They're afraid of Dylan. I don't know what's going on. And you got to remember, I saw this clip. This goes back at least to DeMar DeRozan's time in Chicago. I saw a clip, I believe it was last season, where Dylan and DeMar got into it last season. So they don't mess with each other, and there's always going to be a little smoke. And I like it. And I know Doug Christie likes it too. And nobody backing down from anybody else. I don't care. The Rockets, they need to try something else with the Kings, right? Every time they try to do this tough guy thing, and and they lose. It has not worked once. Why don't y'all just shut up, play basketball, and maybe you can win a game against the Kings? Because right now, what you are trying to do, and someone else got a tech, Ime Udoka, this idea, and this is why I got into it with Rockets fans. This idea, look, I'm all for tinfoil hats, but this idea that the league, every time the Kings and Rockets play, the league decides, oh yeah, we need to make sure the Kings win this game. What are we talking about? It's just the copium is strong with these fans, and it's just absurd. Just admit it's a bad matchup, just like the Kings and Pelicans were last season, and keep it pushing. There's no higher power or issue at work here. Okay, the league does not cheat for the Kings. I'm not saying they do for anyone, but if there was a list, the Kings, Houston would be above the Kings. Y'all got the new talent. Y'all got the young studs.
You're literally in Houston.
You're in Houston. You have the up and coming, players. You're in the playoff race. So just stop it. You sound ridiculous. Have some shame and have some pride. 916-339-1140. Let's get to TC. He wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, TC? What you got for us?
Hey, what's up, bro? Hey, I got a few points right before we kick it off.
Okay.
Book it right now. Say it right now. Book it right now. Kings, 7 seed, win the first play-in, and we match up well with either Denver or LA, bro, and we get them in a 7-game series.
TC, you had me, then you lost me, TC.
Where at? Talk to me.
Both of them. I'm not high on Denver, but Denver, okay. I'll be honest with you right now. You can speak on Denver, and I'll argue, and I'll go back and forth with you, but I see where you're coming from because I don't really trust anybody outside of Jokic. I have honestly more of a problem with the Los Angeles Laker conversation because we haven't even seen that team. That's why I can't say whether they match up well or not because we haven't seen that team yet. That's all I'm saying. But I'll meet you in Denver. I'm good. I can see where you're going with Denver.
Thank you, bro. Look, I just want to book that. Now let's switch it over to the Niners, bro.
Okay.
Right now, I'm trading Brock Purdy, bro, to the Tennessee Titans for that first-round pick. and then we can work out whatever other packages we trade picks. But if the Tennessee right now, if they serious about Brock Purdy, he's gone, bro.
Thanks for the call, TC. Great stuff. Kyle, can you are there reports? Am I missing reports on the Titans and Brock Purdy?
What? No. No. And by the way, he's saying that Titans first round pick. He means the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yes.
That's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. And it goes to the value of Brock Purdy, which is very, very confusing, which happens. I don't know why that continues to happen in San Francisco. Well, I know why it continues to happen because the roster has been so good. But TC, we're gonna get to a lot of Niners in the 12 o'clock hour.
Which good, we'll save that till later. I know TC loves his Niners, but I need to check you right now.
Me?
Yes.
On what?
On this Denver Nuggets thing.
Kyle,
keep pushing.
Did you
down.
watch them last night?
Yes. They lost.
They lost.
Okay.
No Drew Holiday. No Porzingis.
You
for
know
the
what
Celtics.
else they've done? It's the Celtics.
No Aaron Gordon for Denver.
Yeah. You know what else they've done? They've won 18 of their last 24. This team, I'm telling you
Kyle,
right now.
Every time you say that, you keep extending it out because they keep losing games now.
9 of 11, 18 of 20. I don't know what you want me to say. Look, the Denver Nuggets, this team might be as good as the team that won the championship in 2023.
And I don't know that I would disagree with you. But we've also said that was a down year in the league.
Yes, it was. And by the way, Denver got the benefit of Miami being the team that got to the finals.
You could argue we need a diamond checker on that ring, Kyle.
No.
Don't make me do that.
They went 12-3 in the Western Conference. Do you know what teams have gone 12-3 in the Western Conference on their way to the finals? It's the Magic Johnson Lakers, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, and them, okay? That was a dominant champion. And this team might be just as good as that champion. Yes, you like to dismiss Julian Strawther and Hunter Tyson and all those young guys coming off the bench.
Christian Brown been balling.
Yeah, and you know who else is balling? Russell Westbrook. I know everyone just wrote him off. This guy has been excellent. Denver is the second best team in the West, and they're the only team that has a shot at catching OKC. I'm tired of you just dismissing Denver outright.
Okay, we can pocket this. If they end up doing their thing, I will wear it. It's my prerogative to not believe in them.
Jokic is averaging a career high in points.
It's a Jokic show. We saw the blueprint. The blueprint's out, Kyle.
And you know what the Jokic show did? Won an NBA championship.
One time. Kyle, to be fair, I have not been high. I've never been high on the Nuggets, even when they won. I don't believe. I believe if somebody like me who doesn't really enjoy the De'Aaron Fox, are you going to show up today? Jamal Murray's worse than that. I don't know what to do with Jamal Murray. I don't know what to do with Michael Porter Jr. I'm just not high on them. You cannot convince me to be high on them.
JJ Redick had to lock himself in the Charlie Day dungeon for 48 hours to figure out how to stop Jokic one time. You can call it the Jokic show all you want, but Jokic is so excellent that by himself he makes them a championship contender, and you're just dismissing the rest of these guys as scrubs.
Look, man, like I said, if they do it, I'll wear it. But I am not high on them. I'm just not.
I understand not being high on Jamal Murray. It's fine. He's the one piece you can point to and say he hasn't been as good this year as he was 2 years ago. But I just trust playoff Jamal Murray is going to show up for a game or two.
Fair. And when we get there, we'll get there. They're on my list of teams to be worried about in the West. It's the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Lakers. That's who I have.
But you just told TC, I hear you on the Nuggets.
If TC is saying that he likes the matchup against Kings against these teams, I'm saying I've seen the Kings at least be competitive against the Nuggets.
Jokic just put up 36, 18, and 17 against the Kings.
That's fine, but I've also seen the Kings have a crazy implosion, and they could have beat the Nuggets. And last season they beat the Nuggets a couple times.
Yes, they beat the Nuggets during the Beam Team season. Absolutely.
So I'm saying if I'm comparing it to a team that I've seen the Kings play, and I'm comparing it to a team that I haven't seen the Kings play, which, to be fair, we haven't seen the interim, and somebody said the re-beam team. I thought that was funny. We haven't seen the interim beam team or the re-beam team face the Nuggets either. So, honestly, I could say the same argument I said for the Lakers. I don't know which matchups I like yet until I see them play.
Right, but these are excellent teams. These are champions that are playing close.
Kyle.
Jokic might be having the best season of his career.
Kyle, put your money on Christian Braun and Julian Strother, and we'll ride from there.
And Hunter Tyson.
We can ride from there.
DeAndre Jordan.
Cool. When the chips are down and Jokic gets triple teamed and Aaron Gordon, shout out San Jose, Aaron Gordon is taking the shot to win it. I feel pretty good about that if I'm the other team. All right, we got to get back on track here. Kings versus Rockets. I can't believe now I'm all messed up. Kings Rockets. Let's get back to what the Kings did to take care of business. Keon Ellis with another career high. We'll tell you in what category it was. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part, they accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Old Spice Swagger Body Wash will make you the MVP of freshness and confidence. With its irresistible scent, it will transform your shower experience, leaving you feeling fresh on and off the field. Pair it with Old Spice Swagger Deodorant, the #1 aluminum-free brand that keeps you feeling like a Super Bowl champion 24/7 when used daily. But don't wait. This dynamic duo is available at Costco for a limited time only. Old Spice, official deodorant partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 59, where freshness meets football greatness.
High voltage live boxing action returns to the venue on March 8th as Uppercut Promotions presents Thunder Showdown 2 with 8 big fights on the bill featuring top-level veterans and the best in up-and-coming new names. Scheduled fighters include names like cruiserweights Blake McKernan and Sean Miller. It's a night of great boxing action you won't want to miss. It's Thunder Showdown 2 coming March 8th to the venue at the Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Fight cards subject to change. See Thunder Valley website for scheduled lineup.
Advanced Infusion Center, where we prioritize your comfort and well-being. Whether you're managing a chronic condition or seeking specialized IV therapy, our state-of-the-art center offers tailored solutions to meet your needs. Advanced Infusion Center's dedicated healthcare professionals are here to ensure your safety and provide personalized care. Conveniently located in Sacramento and Yuba City with flexible scheduling options. Experience a new standard in infusion therapy. Visit Advanced Infusion Center today at advancedinfusion.com.
This is the story of the one. He is responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
You've heard the saying, penny wise, pound foolish, right? It means you do something that will save you a little bit right now, just pennies, but that ends up costing you pounds in the end.
People put off tuning up their furnace because they don't want to take the time or spend the money to get it done.
But it only takes 90 minutes and costs just $87, which is just pennies compared to the huge problems and expenses that can rack up if you don't get your furnace tuned up.
You'll also save money on your energy bills, and your system will last longer.
So don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Call Bell Brothers for a precision tune-up and professional cleaning today.
Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers. Spring is here, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings, plus get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery from the law firm of Gingery, Hammer and Associates. When you have been injured by the fault of another, you will want advice you can trust. If you know an attorney you can trust, I hope you call that person. But if you don't, please call me. I promise I will be the attorney you can trust, along with my entire team. I have been helping accident survivors recover compensation for their injuries for 25 years, and we can help you. There is no charge for calling. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
Off the initiator, screen set by Valanciunas. Rolls to his right, launches the three off the bounce. No good. Stick back, Keegan Murray. Oh, was that terrific. Beautifully timed against Şengün. And Keegan Murray with a second chance hoop, and the Kings lead 17-3.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Kings get it done against the Houston Rockets on Saturday in a game where it wasn't looking great from a matchup perspective once you had Domantas Sabonis going out, but didn't stop the Kings from getting off to a red-hot start, which kind of set the tone for the rest of the game because obviously the Rockets tried to go on a couple runs, but the Kings, luckily, they had that cushion and were able to hold the Rockets off and get the W. The Kings now, they were in the 8th seed before the Timberwolves beat the Suns last night. I mean, this might be the week. This might be the week that the Suns get buried. You know, to understand what's going on, and look, everyone has lives, and I wouldn't waste my time doing this, but last night I had a little bit of time, and I thought it was, you know, kind of an important game from the Kings' perspective. So, and honestly, I was just a bit interested in what exactly is going on in Phoenix, and I turned on the game, and it was just one of the most confusing things I had watched. They're in the game. It's back and forth. This Anthony Edwards, one, they just don't play defense. And two, you talk about the read and react offense with the Kings and how it lacks structure. There's literally no structure with the Suns. Bringing in Tyus Jones was supposed to help things, but Devin Booker, you know, with the reports of him talking too much and huddles and things like that, looks a bit disengaged. You'll find him in the corner, kind of how we complained about Zack LaVine, but Zack LaVine was still getting used to the team, and Devin Booker's been with the team. Kevin Durant will get his, but it's just completely disjointed. Grayson Allen kind of had that Kevin Huerter type beam team season, and he's kind of come back down to life. And when you add a Royce O'Neal and dudes like that, his role has changed a little bit. It's just a complete mess, but when you watch it, it all happens so fast. They'll be in the game, and it'll just be a 5-minute stretch of just some of the worst basketball you've ever watched, and that'll be it. And the Timberwolves just kind of, you know, stayed the course. They get Julius Randle back last night, and Anthony Edwards doing his thing. They had no answer. They don't have really a stopper that they could have put on Anthony Edwards, and they just don't care enough to double. So Anthony Edwards kind of just did whatever he wanted, and that's it, man. I mean, it's bad. They're 28-33 now. They are 4 games back of the 10 and 9 seed. And again, a game like last night at home, my same argument for the Rockets and the Kings, where you just got Julius Randle back. Maybe there will be a little bit of a learning curve. You could try to sneak a W there. You're going to have to win some of these games, and they could not do it. They could not do it. They just hit a wall. Every game, they hit a wall. And I was listening on I believe it was the Suns broadcast, and it was the same thing. They're going, it's rocking in Club Phoenix, and around that third quarter, they just hit a wall and just don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's done for the Suns at this point. If they're not beating these teams, then the schedule only gets harder for them at this point. So I guess in that sense, it relieves some of the pressure from the Kings because I think they're 4 games up now on that 11 seed. So push comes to shove, Sabonis is going to be out for the next 5 games at least. They have the second hardest schedule in the league the rest of the way. Like, push comes to shove, at least you know you're not going to be in 11. Like, your pressure's off because you're going to be in the play in one way or another. But at the same time, if you look at it from the Houston standpoint, and I know the Kings played Houston yesterday, I feel like Houston's played it so perfectly because they own Phoenix's draft picks. And they want to get either Devin Booker or Kevin Durant, probably closer to Devin Booker because Durant will get to pick where he wants to go, considering he's only got 1 year left on his deal. So they want to play it where they've played it so perfectly with the young guys, giving them a chance to gel and play together and figure this thing out, and then decide after they've had one playoff run together which one they want to prioritize their development and which ones they can flip for a bona fide all-star to pair alongside their now all-star center, Alperen Şengün. So from Phoenix's standpoint, we talked about it last week. They're cooked. From the Rockets' standpoint, I know this year they're definitely going to get bounced in the first round because after December, they're basically a 500 team, but they've played it so perfect in terms of setting themselves in the long run for success.
Speaking of that Domantas Sabonis injury, this is the official update as of yesterday to do some of that math here on how many games he for sure will miss. Sacramento Kings forward center Domantas Sabonis underwent an MRI today. That was yesterday. The MRI confirmed that Sabonis suffered a grade 1 left hamstring strain after exiting the game during the first quarter against the Houston Rockets on Saturday, March 1st. Sabonis will be listed as out, and an update will be provided in 1 week. So, yeah, as far as the strains go, grade 1, relatively speaking, is good news. It's better news than it could have been. So, to Kyle's point, he will be out for the week. So that means, based on this math, March 9th. And I don't know for someone being out a week, how that works in terms of working the players back and having to do on-court stuff. So I'm looking here. They have a game today, so that's one game. Wednesday and so he won't play in the return of De'Aaron Fox. So that's 3 games there, and then Sunday, March 9th, would be a week, and that's Kings at Clippers. My assumption is, especially with that being on the road, he's not playing. Even missing a week, they probably want him to get some on-court stuff. So, yeah, to do this math, after that, it's a back-to-back. So you have L.A. Clippers Sunday, March 9th, which would be a week. Then you have the back-to-back where you come on up back to Sacramento and you take on the New York Knicks March 10th. So I think, to your point, Kyle, even though technically 4 games are within that week, I don't see them. I would be very, very surprised if he's playing that Knicks-Kings game. I think realistically, you're looking at Kings at Warriors since it's somewhat local, and that's on March 13th. So that, and again, if they say, oh, he's got to do on-court, we never know. When they say, reevaluate, there will be an update provided in a week. As far as the hamstring is concerned, if they want to work him back, like you have to do for some of these bigger injuries, you might not see him, because after that, it's another back-to-back, March 13th at Warriors, March 14th at Suns. If he doesn't go on that trip with them, they could just say, hey, we'll just save you until March 17th against the Grizzlies. And that's very possible. So he could easily miss 6 games.
Yeah, well, that would be 7, I think, because you have 5 this week plus the 2 Warriors and Suns.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or you don't, once it gets evaluated, he feels good in March. It's only been a week. You don't necessarily feel like he has to get that much work in. He doesn't play against Knicks, Kings, and he comes back against the Warriors.
Yeah, that's why I would operate under the timeline of he's going to miss the next 5 games, right? Yes. If he comes back before then, awesome, whatever. But reevaluated in a week makes me think that they're going to play it day to day with the Warriors-Suns stretch of games over the next 2 weeks. So I would just operate under the assumption he's not going to be there for 5 games. And like you said, it's one of those things where the schedule is particularly hard, but you also would have said the same thing about the Rockets game. So you feel good coming out of it that they were able to get that win when Sabonis essentially didn't play. So if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, they're going to miss him for 6 games, and they still might come out of it still. I mean, if they win tonight, they'll come out of it in the 7 seed, essentially, or at least in a 3-way tie for the 7 seed. So, yeah, you feel good about where it stands, even if Sabonis is going to be down.
And, I don't do the must-win thing. I've been scarred so many times by the Kings by saying this is a must-win. But I will say, on top of this, the Mavericks are probably the best team to play when missing Domantas Sabonis because they don't have any big men. So if there was a game that you would really like to win on this stretch as you face you actually get pretty lucky, and I'll discuss how you got pretty lucky on the other side because I know we're over time. A couple of the games coming up where the Kings can make the best out of their situation. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sacktown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for 3, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good, and they do good too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/radio and use code radio for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/radio and use code radio at checkout.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
When you're overwhelmed with tax debt, deciding what to do next is a true win or lose decision. You can lose your car, your paycheck, even your retirement savings, or you can choose someone to help you win this battle with the IRS. Now is the time to tackle your tax debt, but you don't have to do it alone. Meet Priority Tax Relief, veteran-owned and the expert in tax debt resolution. Our priority is fighting for you. Our team has helped clients save millions and can reduce or even erase your tax debt. Call 800-406-1584 right now to talk to our winning team. Priority Tax Relief has a direct line to the IRS. That's right, a fast track to find out if you qualify for life-changing tax relief in just minutes. Priority Tax Relief fights to protect your money, has 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Why wait? Call Priority Tax Relief for your free tax consultation. Call 800-406-1584. That's 800-406-1584. Let's make your taxes our priority. Stop your tax debt now. Call 800-406-1584.
Markelle Fultz behind the back bounce pass to LaRavia, looking for the rainbow, and he hits the triple from out on top. Assist to Markelle Fultz, the three-pointer knocked down by LaRavia, and boy, is he happy to see that fall because he has struggled since joining the Kings after shooting well over 40% with Memphis prior to the trade. So the Kings are back on top 40-31.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and vocal.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Jake LaRavia hit a three. That's what I'm talking about. We knew it was going to happen. The first one, or in this case, the second one, the toughest. Again, Kings, what if I told you, now I sound like 30 for 30. What if I told you that the Kings would beat the 5th seed Houston Rockets fully loaded at home with no Domantas Sabonis, also while shooting 32.1% from three? What if I told you that they would win that game? And funny enough, as much as I'm talking bad about the Rockets and their three-point shooting, they shot 37%. They shot 69% from the free throw line, which is terrible. Şengün was 10 for 17. Goodness gracious. But they found a way to get it done. And they have more opportunities. What I was going to say before the break was, okay, so Domantas Sabonis probably going to be out about 5 games. I should say at least 5 games. And the Kings, in a way, luck out a little bit. Look, the Nuggets game is going to be a mess. And I will say, at least you have Valanciunas, who is not going to back down to Jokic. I still think the Nuggets are going to win that game, but you know, Valanciunas is going to make it tough on Jokic from a physical standpoint. But out of those 5 games, you get the Mavericks tonight, who we don't know who they're starting at center because Moses Brown, who put up 18 for them against the Bucks, he's done. He was on a 10-day. We already discussed having the Nuggets on Wednesday. And then the Spurs are starting Bismack Biyombo, who he's on the squad. Look, no disrespect, but obviously with Wemby going out and Sohan not really understanding how to play basketball yet, they are trying to figure out who is going to just eat up that time at center. So those are 2 out of the next 3 games. Obviously, you get, look, Zubac, guys like Zubac. The one that worries me more, honestly, is Karl-Anthony Towns because, you know, Karl-Anthony Towns can stretch the floor, but from a physicality standpoint, I like Jonas Valanciunas to kind of rough Karl-Anthony Towns up. Zubac, I think at the very worst, the Kings, and these aren't super score-heavy centers, right? I mean, there are not a lot of score-heavy centers around the league besides Jokic and Joel Embiid, who no longer really plays basketball. So it's guys that can just affect you in ways, whether it's on the glass, passing the basketball, or scoring the basketball. And out of these 5 games, Zubac, I mean, are you going to lose because Zubac put up a triple-double? No. So I think Valanciunas is again, he's a starting center. So these next 5 games, obviously I'm not trying to downplay what Domantas Sabonis does offensively or defensively, but if you could draw up some games, like I said, Cavs, right? The Cavs on March 19th, that's going to be tough. That would be really tough without Domantas Sabonis. I would even argue the Grizzlies, right, with Jaren Jackson Jr. and just what he can do. That game could be tough. But some of these other games, specifically these next 5 games, you could have cooked up. And then you get the Warriors March 13th if Domantas Sabonis isn't back yet. And they don't even run a center, right? They got Draymond, which could be a tough cover for Valanciunas, but it would have been a tough cover for Sabonis, too.
Quentin Post, though.
Yeah, Quentin Post. So it could be worse. It could be worse as far as the teams that are matching up against the Kings for these games that we think that Domantas Sabonis is going to miss. All right, Kyle. And we just saw it, right? They honestly just faced one of the worst teams to not have Sabonis in. And Şengün balled out, and they still won. You didn't have Domantas Sabonis, and because you didn't have Domantas Sabonis, Şengün goes for 30, and luckily he can't shoot a free throw. Şengün goes for 30 and 10, and you still won the game.
Yeah, Frankie said it on the morning show. Valanciunas is one of the most impactful mid-season acquisitions the Kings have had in a while, for now this unintended purpose of he's going to be starting and playing 35 minutes. Well, guess what? He's been a starting center in the league for 9 seasons now on 4 different teams, so you essentially drop in a starting center, and I don't want to put too much pressure on Valanciunas, but you're hoping you're not going to miss too much of a beat.
No. And honestly, what we've been seeing from Domantas Sabonis lately, he was in a little bit of a slump, and the Kings had still been winning. So, production-wise, hopefully there's not that much of a drop-off.
I should also specify on the defensive end of the floor. Right. On the offensive end of the floor, I think you're going to really see a different-looking Kings offense. But on the defensive end of the floor, you hope you're not going to miss too much of a step.
Everybody's dealing with it, man. Everybody is dealing with injuries, and you just hope that, like De'Aaron said, you kick them when they're down, and you're going to get kicked while you're down, but hopefully you do some kicking while you're down as well. All right, let's get to Christie's Cuts.
Said before the game to them that this was going to take everyone. Obviously, Domas goes down, and it took everyone. And like Trey Lyles, I don't even know what to say about Trey. Super proud of him to stay ready. Markelle was great. Jonas comes in and handles his business. Jake was great. Jay and Doug on the bench, the connection with what they're doing and what they're sacrificing. And the communication is big, and Keon is just continues to be special. And then you put the ball in the hands of Zach and Debo, and they make plays. So all in all, there's things. I'm sure I'm going to go back and watch the tape, and there's some turnovers again and different things. But the fight that they continue to show makes me super proud of them. When we had this conversation at the very beginning, part of my messaging was we play with joy and we take the other team's joy. That's what we want. And that can get a little, back and forth, and I understand that, but that's the style I want to play with. And to do that, you need the support of your peoples. You have to have it. And those guys, whether it's they're playing, they're communicating, they're talking about coverages, they're making sure guys are where they're supposed to be when they come off the floor in the timeouts, just to hear all of that communication, which was something that, in my opinion, has been lacking for a while. It makes me proud, because it shows that they begin to trust each other, because sometimes, you just don't feel comfortable saying some things, and then sometimes there are those hard things that you have to say, and they are trying to do all of that. The production and the points and rebounds and all, but it's a lot of little things that don't show up in this stat sheet anywhere. You'll never see them that those guys are doing. I mean, DeMar is one of those guys you probably don't want to start chirping at, because, he scored 20,000 points in this league for a reason. He's a real deal. So, but that's okay. I have the utmost respect for Dylan, how he gets down. And we come here to win the game at any means, by any means necessary. That's just how I would like it, and that's how they want it. And when you look at a stat sheet like this, and you see pretty much everybody played, and even the guys that didn't contributed more than you will ever even know, that's what Kings basketball is about.
Great stuff there from Doug Christie, a little bit of Christie's Cuts. And he said it perfectly. The contributions that you got, and Trey Lyles, it doesn't always show up on the stat sheet what he does, but as the old saying goes, you ain't got to get ready if you stay ready. And all these guys stayed ready. Jonas Valanciunas and this bench, the much maligned bench for throughout the course of the season, is at very worst serviceable, and at very best a legit bench that you can count on. You have all guys that would get time on other teams, right? And the only person I would maybe give some cause to pause on there is Markelle Fultz, because he's just kind of getting back into the fold. But that's still 4 out of the 5 guys that you played, they would be getting legit time on other benches. So that's somewhere to start. And I would say benches of teams that are all in the mix too. So, a lot of this was about the bench being good enough to spell the starters at times. And as much as I say that, you still have DeMar DeRozan playing 40 minutes, and I still don't like that. And Zack LaVine playing 37. But with that being said, you have to find a way to get it done. I guess at this point, my issue was more so this happening as far as the minutes were concerned at the beginning of the season. We're in March now. You got a month and a half left of the season, getting close to a month left in the season. Minutes got to go out the window. DeMar DeRozan, we've heard how much he doesn't want to be in the play-in, so it's probably pretty hard to take him out the game. Do I love him playing 40 minutes? Not really, but that's all that complaining is for November and December and maybe January. It's go time now. So the minutes, we can kind of just throw them all out the window. Just get it done. On the other side, the Kings did get it done. And as we mentioned, let's have some fun. Well, I don't know how fun it will be for me, but is anyone doing the thing already with Domantas Sabonis? Are we better without Domas? I know someone's out there, and you might be on the Sack Chat. You might be on the text line. You might be calling in. We're not doing that, right? Are we? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Meanwhile at Xfinity. Okay, huddle up. Do you realize how many fans stream basketball? It's madness.
But real fans stream with Xfinity Internet.
Totally. We've engineered the fastest connection.
With reduced buffering and low lag.
'Cause making streaming better is what we do!
Yeah!
Yeah!
Can we let go now? It's really not a huddle with 2 people.
Switch to Xfinity Internet and stream live sports from the best seat in the house. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Actual speed vary. Not guaranteed.
1 ticket, 2 huge shows.
The Sacramento Boat Show plus the Big RV Show. Multiple dealers discounting all the best brands. Hundreds of wakeboard boats, fishing boats, and pontoon boats. Acres and acres of travel trailers, fifth wheel, toy hauler, and motorhome. Plus ATVs too. 2 shows. 1 massive event. The Sacramento Boat Show, plus the Big RV Show.
March 6th through 9th at Sacramento's Cal Expo.
Find discounts at
2hugeshows.com.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Save Mart and McKee Brothers Plumbing and Rooter Incorporated. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
In the Shag Bag, the renovation of Poppy Ridge Golf Course in Livermore, California continues on schedule for a reopening this year. Architect Jay Blasey's design assures a golf course we can look forward to playing a few months down the road. Check poppyridgegolf.ncga.org for updates. And Rod Metzler, PGA with Courseco, reports that the Campus Commons golf course continues to grow in after a complete redesign and is also scheduled to reopen in the next couple of months. I'm hearing a lot of talk about the nighttime crowd at the Hagen Oaks driving range with their Top Tracer technology. You'll find accomplished players alongside newbies searching for that first center of the club face experience that brings them back for more. The order of the evening is fun, so it might be worth a look. National Golf Foundation reports 45 million Americans over the age of 6 played golf both on course and off course in 2023. When can we count you on that list? That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance, but Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
If variety is the spice of life, InShape Fitness is a spice rack of fitness clubs where you can hit the floor, hop on a bike, part the waters, or lift the weights to keep your workout routine from ever feeling routine. We are in shape. You are ready. Join online today at InShape.com.
KHD KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
$40 million this year at age 28. $43.6 million next year at age 29. $46.7 million in a couple years at age 30. And $49.9 million in 2027, 2028 at age 31. That is the money that Domantas Sabonis is owed. Now, I said I'm not doing it. Not having a conversation about could the Kings be better or should they pivot off, because not even a full game, people, I mean, it was most of the game, but not even a full game where the Kings do look good and Jonas Valanciunas played very, very well, and they beat a fifth seed who, I mean, the Rockets probably are still exceeding expectations for this season. And I get people tagging me. Someone said, Allen, be ready for Monday. People are going to call in, text in, say they're ready to have that conversation about Domantas Sabonis. He's getting paid a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. It's 4 years, $186 million. It's a lot of cash.
And he took a pay cut.
It's a lot of cash. And, you know, I do think one thing that's interesting, if you had been listening to this show before the trade deadline, thank you for listening. And I said something that I don't think got me laughed out the building, at least not to my face. And I said, hey, this is still when the Kings had De'Aaron Fox. I said, hey, do you think this team could be better? Or do you think there's a conversation to be had about whether or not they would be better if they had more of a traditional center, right? Someone where it doesn't really go through them as much. They kind of clean up the glass. They post up every now and then. They still do their thing as far as the rebounds are concerned. What I said was, do you think this team would be better right now? Remember the team before the trade deadline, if you swapped Domantas Sabonis and Keegan Murray for Jonas Valanciunas and Kyle Kuzma. Now, I'm not saying that I ever wanted to do that, but I thought it was an interesting conversation, less about Keegan and Kyle. Kuzma, the only argument there is that Kuzma is more of a ready-made product for De'Aaron, who wanted to win now, and Jonas Valanciunas would give them a more traditional look from the center position, where it would honestly be more De'Aaron, and it just everything wouldn't, the DHOs, things like that, it would just look a little bit different. And again, that's not something I wanted to do, but I did find it to be an interesting exercise, right? That would be less money that you're paying for your center position. Your production would be less, but maybe that money goes in other places. Now, fast forward a couple weeks later, and the team is completely different. And I have the conversation with the roundtable with the Kings insiders, Brendan, Chris, and Frankie. And when I said to them, what if the conversation is there to be less Sabonis or Sabonis to be less involved, their answer was essentially, well, the way you're paying him, that can't really be a thing, right? If you're going to pay this guy at the end, by the time the contract is over, $50 million, and you're paying him $40 million this season, it kind of has to be this way. The average annual of $46 million a year, it kind of has to be this way. So when they said that to me, and you remember if you were watching the roundtable and listening to the roundtable on Thursday, I was kind of taken aback because I do think that there is a world where this thing, if Doug gets, beyond this season, if Doug gets the right offense, because I'm just assuming that the coaches from Mike Brown's staff move on. If Doug gets the right offensive coordinator, if you will, this thing could evolve in a way where you do pay him more as he gets older because all these contracts are ascending like that. But there is a world where maybe there is less dependence on Domantas Sabonis, and it could help the team because things do change in the playoffs. So I'm not willing to have a conversation about whether the Kings or I'm not going to initiate a conversation and throw it out there that I think that there is any world where the Kings are better without Domantas Sabonis and instead swap him in for a Jonas Valanciunas type player. But I do think that some tweaking probably needs to happen, and it should happen a bit organically within the next year, especially with Doug. And, the DHOs have gone away. Now the DHOs have come back, but they're happening in a different capacity at the very least. So I do think that there is a level of tweaking that needs to be had where you can still feel like you're getting the most out of Domantas Sabonis, but it's not so Domantas Sabonis dependent that if he goes down or if he goes in a slump, things look a bit off. So I'm not comparing Jonas Valanciunas to Domantas Sabonis. If anything, what Jonas Valanciunas did on Saturday kind of just speaks to how good he is and how lucky the Kings are to have been able to get him at the price that they got him. So Saturday to me said more about Jonas Valanciunas than it did about Domantas Sabonis.
So you talked about needing to do some tweaks here and there to potentially be less, as you phrased it, Domantas Sabonis reliant.
Right.
So during the Beam Team run, Domantas Sabonis didn't have the greatest playoffs, but De'Aaron Fox was averaging like 37 points a game for a good bulk of that series. So a lot of it was you had two top 30 players in the league who, De'Aaron Fox could be a number one offensive weapon, but also is kind of the number two best player on the team, as I kind of looked at it. Do you feel like Zack LaVine is good enough as a running mate to replicate that at times, where it's like, oh, Sabonis doesn't have it, go Zack LaVine?
Yes, I would like to see more, but each game we watch with Zack LaVine and the confidence as it grows, I feel comfortable saying that. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not saying, for people listening, I'm not saying better or worse or anything else, just good enough to accomplish whatever your expectations are, good enough to get there. So if that's the case, then I feel like a lot of tinkering is going to have to be around the edges, only because of the cap situation the Kings find themselves in, where Zack LaVine's going to be making $46 million, essentially a max. Domantas Sabonis is making essentially a max, and Malik Monk is going to be making $20 million a year. They don't have a ton of room to tinker with in the margins unless they take all that money and deliver it to one player.
But I'm not talking about bringing somebody else in per se. What I'm saying is Domantas Sabonis has been putting up crazy numbers, right? And where we're at now is that you have three guys in the top 60, okay, according to the Ringer, whatever you want to believe with that. Three guys in the top 60. One of those guys had the longest double-double streak or broke the record for longest double-double streak. He'll mess around and get triple-doubles. His production is that of something we haven't seen, if it wasn't for Jokic, since Wilt Chamberlain. And some things he's doing that Jokic is not doing, right? Yet, you have 3 guys in the top 60, everything I just said, and I know this season was weird because of all the trades, but you're fighting for a play-in. So to me, something has to be looked at because Domantas Sabonis and maybe it's not Domantas Sabonis. I'm just looking at him because he's doing so much, but something has to change because his numbers, and this is the argument against Domantas Sabonis, aren't translating into wins. I'm not saying that's his fault. I'm saying from a big picture standpoint, something has to change so that the collection of these parts translate into winning basketball. And besides the Beam Team season, with how good Domantas Sabonis has been, it hasn't.
Yeah, I think the simplest answer is in order to be a top 10 team in the NBA, you have to have a top 10 player in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And I personally believe Domantas Sabonis at times is a top 10 player in the NBA. It's never as concrete as you're top 10 or you're not top 10. It's like sometimes last year he finished 7th for the MVP.
Right.
But this year he's maybe not going to make all NBA, despite the fact that his numbers might be better than last year, but it's not contributing to winning basketball. But there's been more turmoil around him. Mm-hmm. So I look at that and say, if Domantas Sabonis is playing at his best, he has proven he can be at times a top 10 to 15 player in the NBA, which means the Kings have a puncher's chance of being a top 10 to 15 team in the NBA on a regular basis. I guess I'm just figuring out what is the thing that you're trying to help them get there on. Because the way I look at the team for the next week is just they're the Sacramento Bulls, right? Valanciunas is Vucevic, and they're the Sacramento Bulls. And we'll see how far the Sacramento Bulls go. But when Sabonis is there, you feel like there's something more they need to do to better situate Sabonis.
But I felt like that before they were the Sacramento Bulls because I know that there were injuries last season, but they were the 9 seed. So...
I mean, they were the 9 seed, but they were the 7 seed until those injuries happened.
Sure.
So I would say at full strength, they were a 7 seed last year.
Which again, fine, but we're talking about still being in the play-in here. We're arguing 2 different spots in the play-in. Meanwhile, we have a guy putting up numbers the same. And we had De'Aaron Fox, who some would argue was an all-star snub, and we had Domantas Sabonis doing his thing. Maybe it's just the other guys didn't carry enough water. I don't know, but everything needs to be reevaluated because you're paying this guy a lot of money. He's, I would say, worth the money. That's not the question, but there's something in the makeup of what they're doing that has not translated. Maybe it's just the requisite pieces or the supplementary or complementary pieces being better. I don't know, but I could see why people are going to, I'm not going to point to Sabonis, but I understand why it's the easy thing to do because he's the one thing that you're staring at thinking, well, hey, could all of these guys bring more to the table in a way if things looked a bit different? And honestly, the next 5 games we'll see. The next 5 games, we'll see just what this whole thing looks like, and they can go back to the drawing board and say, hey, what if we tweak Domantas Sabonis in this way? And that's what I was trying to say to Frankie, to Brendan, and to Chris. What they're doing isn't working. And I'm not putting it on Sabonis, but something's got to change because you're not paying somebody $40 million, $50 million to fight for a play-in every single
I guess maybe it's not working right now because it's the interim beam team.
But
with
it didn't
4
work.
guards.
It didn't work with De'Aaron.
It didn't work to the expectation you maybe had, but I mean, the Mike Brown Kings were 11th in the league in net rating. They were just dropping games at the very end.
Yeah.
The first 8 games of Doug Christie, they were a top 5 team in the league in net rating. So, like, they've had moments where it's worked this season. It's just feels like it's not working because they're in the de facto 9 seed right now, possibly 10 seed, depending on how tonight goes.
We have some text to get through as we continue the conversation. How are you feeling with Domantas Sabonis out for at least a week? He will be we will be provided with an update in a week. So that's basically March 9th. Going to miss at least 4 to 5 games. How are you feeling about your Sacramento Kings? You should be feeling pretty good because the West is wide open. What will life look like without Domas? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
It's March, and you're in luck because at Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, they're slam dunking the competition with unbeatable deals on overhead doors. Hey there, Jason Ross here, and whether you're upgrading your home just like we did or need a reliable, secure garage door, they've got the perfect match for you. And March is the perfect time for a fresh start. Take your home to the next level with high-quality doors that stand strong, look amazing, and are installed by trusted professionals. The winning results we got is more than we could have asked for, and you can do the same. So visit overheaddoorofsacramento.com today and check out their showroom as well. And when you do, mention me, Jason Ross, or Sacktown Sports, and find out about the $150 off a new garage door with the purchase of a garage door opener. Your dream door, just like us, is a click away. You can call them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
From the 916, I think the Kings will be all right. I think the Kings will play better now that they're not playing through Sabonis, and they got an actual big to stay in the paint and let DeMar and Zach create and cook. I think we'll see a bit of the difference. I think the Sabonis thing might be a blessing and give us some newfound house money, and when he comes back, depending on who we're playing, will be good either way. Yeah, it's just a more traditional look. That's what I'm saying, 916. I'm not saying that they'll be better. I'm saying that it gives us all an opportunity to take a step back and say, all right, we've been in this same mode for 2-3 years now. Is there something, especially with this new talent, right? You have Zack LaVine is not the same player as De'Aaron Fox. So could things look a little bit more fluid, or it looks like garbage? And we all say, please, Domas, please come back as soon as we can. So, that's the situation there. And as we kind of move forward to life without Sabonis, Skal Labissière has signed a 10-day contract. Jonas Valanciunas is starting for the Kings. And Trey Lyles comes back to playing the backup 5. The centers that they will be playing next week, Kai Jones.
Maybe. I don't even know. He's signed on a 2-way contract now. We'll get to the injury report later. They literally have no forwards or centers.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the Mavericks are going to do. They have not a single forward or center on their team.
Nikola Jokic, which that's obviously going to be a tough matchup, and Bismack Biyombo. Feel pretty good about Jonas Valanciunas there. Ivica Zubac, I think that's kind of a wash. The Karl Anthony Towns thing, I think it's just going to be a matter of Zubac winning the way he wins and Karl Anthony Towns winning the way that he wins. When Karl Anthony Towns is on the perimeter, he's not – we know – here's the thing about Karl Anthony Towns on the perimeter. He wants to shoot the basketball. So it's not like, he's going to pull him out and, manipulate the offense or the defense in some way. Karl Anthony Towns, there'll just be times where he is just sitting out there as if he's a forward. Right. So I watched a bunch of basketball this weekend. It's crazy. Just a quick note about the Knicks. I believe they did end up beating the Heat, and I watched some Davion Mitchell, and he had another good game. The Knicks actually sat Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges actually did not close the game. They went with Miles McBride. The game went into overtime. And the game, at the end of the game, they throw in Mikal Bridges to take a random three-pointer in a terrible situation. Then overtime started. They went back to Miles McBride. So the Knicks are a complete weird disaster right now. They're winning games, but I think Stephen A had said, when he feels like talking about the Knicks every now and again, they have zero identity. Zero.
Oh, no, they have identity. Their identity is we score a lot of points and we give up a lot of points, which has to be driving Tom Thibodeau insane. That his team traded for OG Anunoby, traded for Karl Anthony Towns, traded for Mikal Bridges, and they just can't play a lick of defense. Like, Bridges, they gave up, I think, 5 or 6 draft picks for him.
Yeah.
And woof, that's looking bad. Now, the good news for the Knicks is they had like 11, so they still like have a surplus of draft picks somehow, but there is never a team more dangerous than a team who thinks they're one piece away from a championship. And yeah, Mikal Bridges just can't play defense now, which if you're not going to play defense, what are you doing here?
No, and you know what's weird about the whole wing thing? It's a wing-driven league, but you also need different versions of wings, which I think some teams are having some issues with, because I don't think that OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges are the same player, but they're kind of redundant enough that when you that you can sit Mikal Bridges and play Miles McBride, because Miles McBride is a shooting guard that can give you different things. So I feel like as we move towards this, everyone needs all the wings. We've seen it with the Pelicans. They had to move on from Brandon Ingram because they had too many wings that were a bit redundant. The Knicks are in this weird situation as well. So I think the wing conversation is so confusing now. Even when we bring it back to the Kings with Keegan Murray and you add a Jake LaRavia, and even when we were talking about adding Cam Johnson, we didn't know who was starting where. Part of that is because, you also have DeMar DeRozan, but when we all talked about bringing in Cam Johnson or John Collins, we all sat there and said, I guess Cam Johnson's coming off the bench, even though he's having an infinitely better season than Keegan Murray, but Keegan's been on the team.
At the time.
So it's all about the wings right now, but I do feel like all wings aren't created equal, and the Knicks and some of these teams are a bit too redundant, and they don't know what to do.
Well, the weird thing about the Knicks is that this wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a defensive-minded wing team that allowed Brunson to take over and Karl to take over. And the weirdest thing is, like, Bridges and Anunoby are both shooting 36% from three. Like, they are a legit top 5 offense in the NBA, but they just can't defend anybody. And no amount of Mitchell Robinsons or Miles McBrides or anything like that are going to fix that for the Knicks. The Knicks are infinitely fascinating as a team this year, not just because of Karl all of a sudden is forced to play the 5, and it's like, oh, hey, if you had been playing the 5 the whole time, you would have absolutely been an all-NBA caliber player, but you refuse to acknowledge you're 7 feet tall. You are 7 feet tall, but you choose to play like you're 6'7".
Yeah.
And if you had just played like you were 7 feet tall the whole time, you would have been an all-NBA player. So it's very funny to have that happening on one end of the floor and everything they could have hoped for on offense, and then everything they sold for Anunoby and Bridges just not working at all.
From the 5-3-0, all I can say is if we didn't pick up Valanciunas, an injury to Sabonis costing 6-7 games would mean we would be looking at tanking to improve our lottery chances. With Valanciunas, we can maintain. Yeah, I think they will definitely maintain, and they will definitely be able to survive as we await Domantas Sabonis' return. 209 says the difference between Sabonis and Valanciunas. Sabonis, better overall scorer, rebounder, and assists, even though not great against more physical defenders. And the DHO is so hard to watch to develop. Valanciunas, bigger, more physical, good at finishing around the rim with defensive contact, not as athletic, doesn't run the floor well, can't bring the ball up. So got a little scouting report there from 209. Great stuff. Yeah, I just think it'll be a different look. And I think that where the Kings are at now is, we're trying to sneak into the playoffs, and if things all break the way that they need to break tonight, they could be in the playoffs. Crazy enough. We'll discuss how that could happen on the other side. But I think as they're more so reevaluating what this team is going to be, getting to see life with a different look at the center position, it cannot hurt. It definitely can't hurt while you're keeping your ship afloat for this season. 916-339-1140 if you want to be a part of the conversation. On the other side, this thing's wide open. It is wide open unless you're the Denver Nuggets and you're Kyle and you think that they're going to win the whole thing. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
That spice is 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Hi, my name is Khadijah, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick of the chicken. It's just the right amount of heat, and it gets me excited. And then, pro tip, add that cilantro lime sauce. It cools it down. If the sandwich is at 100, the cilantro lime takes it to 200. It makes me want to, tell all my friends and family.
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
High Voltage live boxing action returns to the venue on March 8th as Uppercut Promotions presents Thunder Showdown 2. With 8 big fights, it's a night of great boxing action you won't want to miss. Thunder Showdown 2, coming March 8th to the venue at Thunder Valley Casino Resorts. Fight card subject to change.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends at American Energy. It's cold, and American Energy wants you to stay warm and make sure your system's operating safely. Here's the deal. A $49 tune-up inspection, which is regularly $119. That's a full safety and duct inspection. But guess what? If your system's over 10 years old, the tune-up is on them. That's right. It's free. Give them a call right now. $50 off your first recommended repair. And if you need a new furnace, half off the price of a new unit. Oh, by the way, breaking news, they're hiring right now. Here's the deal. They'll train you. Full benefits, generous incentive-based pay. Just call today for more details at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Not only great deals from American Energy, but possibly a new career for you. Check them out at theaeway.com for an instant quote and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Save Mart and McKee Brothers Plumbing and Rooter Incorporated. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
So many things, big and little, make you uniquely you. Your hobbies, dreams, careers, family, and more. Addiction to drugs, including opioids and stimulants, can strip these away from you. Recover your life. Choose treatment for drug addiction and get back to what matters most. Find a provider and proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at choosechangeca.org.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
It is wide open, the Western Conference right now. And look, whether I'm respecting the teams at the top of the West enough or not, I think we can all sit here and say that we have no clue who is actually going to win it. And some people like the parity, some people don't. But the reality is the Kings aren't done, and they're not close to being done, relatively speaking, when it comes to the 6th seed, right? And if things break their way tonight, obviously, first things first, you have to win, okay, and take care of business against the Mavericks. But assuming you do that and things break in the way that you need them to, you could be looking at the 6th seed, which sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. Now, is it realistic where you have the Warriors facing the Hornets tonight in Charlotte, and the Hornets are just awful? Obviously, the Kings are taking on the Mavericks, and you have those are the two main ones going on right now.
So even if the Warriors win, you would be in a 3-way tie for the 7 seed.
Right. So Warriors win, you move either way, you move up in some way if you win tonight.
In this hypothetical situation where because they're a half game back of the 6th seed right now, but if the Warriors win, they jump into the 6th seed.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Warriors lose, then it's the Clippers, the Timberwolves, and you all tied together, sitting in that 6th seed. But obviously Golden State wins, they jump everyone. But hey, they could end up being a half game back in the 6th seed.
Yeah, the Warriors, they did lose to the 76ers. Paul George did play. He's another guy who at this point it's hard to keep up. But Paul George did play. But it wasn't about Paul George this weekend against the Warriors. They kind of got a raw deal as Quentin Grimes goes off for 44. That's the type of guy, it's the type of performance. I think the funniest thing about the NBA is if you show someone who doesn't watch the NBA just a good night from a player like Quentin Grimes, if you show them that performance against the Warriors, you'd think, oh, that's got to be one of the best players in the league, right? And that's not quite who Quentin Grimes is. It just goes to show, as you know, LeBron has gone back and forth with the media kind of talking bad about the league and the face of the league. The talent right now is out of control. And you go back during one of the breaks and watch the highlights of Quentin Grimes. He is in his absolute bag.
I think the story is all of these guys were once number one options.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite stories that I ever tell. So I was growing up in San Diego. Every year they would do a high school basketball tournament up by where my grandparents live. And so when I would stay, I'd sometimes go with my grandpa to the tournament. Mm-hmm. And one year we showed up at, I think it was like 11 a.m., first game of the day. And it was Quentin Grimes' high school team from Florida. And he dropped 48 points against just dudes. Yeah. Like, there were people travel all around, and like Sharif O'Neal played in this tournament. But it's not like when you have a 5-star recruit who shows up and just starts playing, it's just like Quentin Grimes just destroyed everyone. And he was one of those guys who played 3 years of college ball and they didn't think would be anything in the NBA. But guess what? He's still the dude who at 17 years old was dropping 48 points against high school kids. He's just in the NBA now. And I think all of these players have that in their bag, and people sometimes forget that. They're just rarely ever asked to be number one options because there's only so many number one options you can have.
Right. And you get to the league, and unless you can do it amongst the other number ones that are all running around, hey, you can't do that. So you're just going to be you're a role player, and this is your role. In a situation like what's going on with the Sixers, you know, Tyrese Maxey, his hand has been kind of dinged up, and Jared McCain, he's out for the season. So you go down the list of the Sixers, and it's, well, Quentin Grimes, you might as well go off. I mean, I saw it was Kessler Edwards, and with the Mavericks, I think this was before the All-Star break, he went off for 25 or something like that because he had to. So you find a guy, any guy can have a hot night, and that's why it really kind of speaks to when, and I'm talking to myself really, when we joke about these lesser teams and lesser opponents, yes, the Kings or whoever it is should beat these teams, but it really is an any given Sunday type of deal when you get a guy who's just all these guys have the ability to get in a zone. And somebody like Quentin Grimes, who is a legit NBA player, he's not a starter, but a legit NBA player. Those are the scary ones. You get to a level, and that's going into tonight. I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch, even though I feel good about the Mavericks. I believe, Kyle, you said the line was +2 or something like that, because the Mavericks are a weird team because they have role players, but they got some guys, you know what I mean? Besides that center position, they have guys that get legit time in the league. There's a difference between facing guys like that and facing really young teams or teams that legitimately have that Charlotte Hornets team. There's a difference between those two.
Yeah, the difference between being an elite NBA player and being a role player in the NBA sometimes is that ability to do it 82 games out of the season. Because you talk about it all the time. You don't know what to do with these lottery picks going to the G League and putting up 40 points. Like, there's clearly a talent discrepancy between an NBA player and even a G League player. And if I'm thinking about this right, you're talking about the difference between the 100th best basketball player in the world and the 500th best basketball player in the world. Like, it's not that big of a difference, but we see a noticeable difference in ability of play. So, yeah, I mean, Jalen Green for the Rockets can't put up 25 to 30 a game and impact winning 82 games of the season, but he's a lot closer to that than he was 2 years ago. And I think that's kind of what development is learning how to have something you can just go back to every game, right? Quentin Grimes is not going to put up 44 points every night.
No.
But last year, his teammate Malachi Flynn put up 50 in a game for the Pistons.
Yeah.
And Malachi Flynn, I saw him at San Diego State. That dude is not a pure scorer by any stretch of the imagination. So all these guys have that in their bag. It's just not everyone can do it 82 nights out of the year or have something they can always go back to and say, that's what's going to get me a bucket against literally any defender in the league.
The Mavs are going to be missing a lot of guys. And look, there's a lot of confusion with who they can play, who they can't, because they've had so many two-way guys. But PJ Washington, I think, is the biggest one. He's out with that right ankle sprain. And then all of the suspects that we already talked about: Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, all the three centers, and Anthony Davis wants to be a forward, but the three centers, and Caleb Martin also out tonight. So yeah, you look around and it doesn't seem like there's a lot, but then you also have Kyrie. And the 510 is saying steady diet of Lyles and Jonas Valanciunas tonight, Keegan on Clay, and Keon on Kyrie. Put another one down for the good guys, light the dang beam. This is one of those days where to start the game, because Keon doesn't start, to start the game, to the 510's point, we'll probably see Keegan on Kyrie more than I would like. That's how I'm going to say it. I don't think Keegan should be on Kyrie that much tonight, and I feel like we're going to see Keegan on Kyrie because of the differences in rotations, and when Keon's not on the floor and Kyrie is. To me, that's going back to last week and what we were talking about. That's the stuff that I don't really like, because Keegan at that point in time has now just completely shifted into fully defensive mode. And Keegan can get a wide open three, and I would be willing to bet he doesn't make that shot because he's not in an offensive mindset. So to me, I'm not really a fan of changing around starting lineups too often, but a night like tonight, could I be convinced, hey, Malik, we're going to go with Keon? Now, I know they've been subbing in Keon very, very quickly, but tonight would be a night where if I'm Doug, you could say, hey, man, we like Keon against Kyrie. Honestly, Kyrie is going to score on anyone, but we didn't want Kyrie to get it going too early, so we opted to go with Keon. Malik is our starter, but there will be situations where we want to punch someone in the mouth and set the tone defensively, and Keon is our lockdown for the for the guard position. So that's what we're going to go with. I don't think it'll happen, but that's a game where I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, it would be a weird decision to do that after all the talk of should they do this starting lineup? Should they do that starting lineup? Why would they pick it as tonight when it's a game they could probably win regardless of who is starting? Because even if Keon starts, he's not going to play 48 minutes, so he's not going to be guarding Kyrie the whole time or even shadowing Kyrie. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a situation where like Kyrie goes to the bench, Keon goes to the bench, Kyrie comes in. I don't even think it's going to be that. I think there's going to be moments where Malik or Zach or maybe Keegan, probably not Keegan, but maybe Keegan are going to have to guard Kyrie.
I'm telling you, Keegan will be on Kyrie, and it's going to annoy me.
He might, but I feel like it's just going to be in spurts. I don't think the defensive game plan is to put Keegan there, despite the fact Keegan can guard ones, but I think it would be a strange choice, but it also I don't think matters that much, right? If you're making the sub 4 minutes into the game anyways, I mean, for all the talk about the Kings struggling to start games with this lineup, Sabonis went down in the first minute. They were up 17-3 against the Rockets. So even if they make the switch relatively early, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference considering, A, the Mavericks don't have any bigs, so the Kings can trap and double Kyrie almost as much as they want, and B, someone else is going to have to guard Kyrie at some point throughout the game.
Well, they're not going to do it. I wouldn't mind, this is the type of stuff that if this was a play-in game or something like that, I could see that happening. And, if it works, then Doug's a genius. If it doesn't work and Malik Monk scores 5 points and is just way off, then everyone is mad about it. So, it's just something where that if you do it the right way, it can make sense, but maybe the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And my other thing is, as far as just not being too proud, you look around again, and I'm not going to disrespect Clay, who's been playing pretty well and shooting the ball pretty well over these last couple games, but no PJ Washington. You don't know who's starting at center because you have Kessler Edwards on the two-way. Moses Brown is now done with his 10-day. So if you want Max Christie and Najee Marshall and Jaden Hardy, if those guys are going to beat you and you want to double Kyrie, you can live that way too. So you have a lot of options because the Mavericks don't have a lot of options. All right. When we return, Debo Samuel is gone. We'll tell you what he went for, and we want to hear from you, your memories of Debo, and are you glad that it's finally over? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Spring is here, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings, plus get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, because this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
T-Mobile Home Internet is all about speed, value.
What you doing, Zach?
First thing, there are so many benefits. You got to talk fast.
T-Mobile Home Internet ranks #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by J.D. Power.
Wow, you are good.
Try singing it. T-Mobile has price lock.
They won't raise your rate on internet.
Hulu and Paramount Plus on them.
Get T-Mobile Home Internet all in for just $55 a month with auto pay and any postpaid voice line.
Additional terms apply for J.D. Power 2024 award information. Visit jdpower.com/awards.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
One ticket, two huge shows.
The Sacramento Boat Show and the Big RV Show. Multiple dealers discounting all the best brands.
March 6th through 9th at Sacramento's Cal Expo.
Find discounts at
twohugeshows.com.
You're home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
This Debo Samuel conversation is going to be an interesting one, as Debo had some great times with the Niners, and for a while he was all of the defense or the offense. Could have played defense too. And he moves on. The Niners get a 5th rounder. They get off that contract from Debo. And, some people think it was a good deal. Some people don't. I completely forgot about the Jake Moody thing with Debo and how, in a way, both of them are in tough situations. I know John Lynch said some things about Moody that kind of confused some people dealing with his injury, and they kind of believe that he could return to his old form. But Debo Samuel is now gone, and it's interesting because I do think he's going to be pretty good with the Commanders, or he could be a complete flameout. But if this is you'll know a lot in this first year. I don't see Debo as somebody who, it just takes him a year. He doesn't have that type of time, right? And the way Debo plays, never been the crispest route runner. He's 29 years old. He just turned 29. He turned 29 in January. So to me, he doesn't really have time to use this upcoming season as a get used to whatever. The Commanders get to the NFC Championship. Debo is used to playing at a high level and has been to a couple Super Bowls. So in my opinion, it's go time for him right now. And as far as the Niners are concerned, I saw some bits from Tim Kawakami, how they're not necessarily thinking that they need to replace Debo. They really like who they have. And they brought up Tariq Owens. I saw Kawakami did on the podcast, and he's super plugged in with all things Bay Area sports, but they brought up Tariq Owens as a guy who could help the Niners. Also, they have Jacob Cowing, who didn't play much, but is that electric speedster that they have been kind of waiting for. And obviously, you get Brandon Ayuk returning, coming off that ACL, so we'll see what he looks like. And Ricky Pearsall, who you took in the first round, and Juwan Jennings, right? So to me, this was a move that the Niners kind of felt like they had to make. Debo has never really been too quiet, even going back to the to the extension and the wide back conversation, and those things get put into his contract. Ultimately, I think it's pretty simple with Debo. The offense outgrew him. They continued to draft wide receivers, and you have a quarterback, even if you're not that high on Brock Purdy, you have a quarterback who's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So you have a wide receiver core that's better than it was in 2021 when it was just the Debo show, and you have a quarterback that's better than Jimmy Garoppolo that can actually throw the football. So you throw that into a pot, and you just don't really need Debo's backyard football services anymore. And on top of that, the last thing I mentioned, which also kind of kicked Debo out the door, was Christian McCaffrey. And when Brandon Ayuk went out and Juwan Jennings became the X receiver, which is the number one receiver in the game plan, that's when I knew. Obviously, Debo's always kind of been more of a gadgety, niche-y wide receiver. But when that happened and Brandon Ayuk and Debo's numbers didn't even get better after Brandon Ayuk went out and it was the Juwan Jennings show, that's when I knew. I don't know if Debo's washed, but his role on this offense is washed.
Yeah, this was a salary dump. There's no way around it. This was a salary dump, and it's a salary dump that had been in the works for months. Mm-hmm. When they decided to give Brandon Ayuk that extension, this was going to happen with Debo regardless of how next season went. Maybe they would have gotten more for him if he had played a better season, but you mentioned the gadgety type offensive plays. They didn't need that at the price that they were getting him at. So they'll save $6 million in the short term against the cap. They'll get a pick, which, sure, it's in the middle of the 5th round. That player has like a 60% chance of ever contributing anything to the 49ers.
Right. George Kittle, 5th rounder.
Well, that's the joke, is that the Niners the Niners took a lesser pick.
Yeah.
They could have gotten more, but they thought they'd do better in the 5th round.
Right.
But historically in the NFL, the 6th and 7th round guys, you have like a 50-50 shot of them ever contributing on your team. Maybe they'll go somewhere else and contribute, but on your team, it's like 50-50 shot with those 6th and 7th rounders. So they dumped his contract. That's fine. Everyone's happier for it. I'm more curious what Washington's going to do with Debo Samuel, because Washington, I think, only has 3 receivers on their roster going into next season. So other than Terry McLaurin, who was like one of the most highly targeted receivers in the league last year, they're rebuilding that thing from scratch. And I know that Peters, the guy running Washington, is from San Francisco. He was with Debo during the Super Bowl season a year ago. So he wanted his guy back. He got his guy back, and we'll see if that means they win or lose the trade. I don't think it matters that much, because the Niners were just salary dumping, which is fine that they salary dumped, but I don't want anyone to be like, look at John Lynch getting out at the right time. No, they did not. They just took a salary dump.
Well, the funny thing is, too, a lot of people, were talking about how well Jaden Daniels played, even though the wide receiver core wasn't great, right? And obviously you had the Scary Terrys of the world, but the other guy, De'Ami Brown, they have 2 Browns, right? They have Noah Brown, and then they have De'Ami Brown. And I know De'Ami Brown, he had a crazy end of season. He went in 2021, so I know there were conversations about St. Brown had essentially said, "Oh yeah, he got taken over."
A lot of Browns going on here.
Yes, a lot of Browns going on here, and you had St. Brown talking about how he got taken before him. So that made me think, oh, maybe De'Ami Brown is coming into his own, which he might be. He went in 2021, so it's not like he is a spring chicken per se, but he could still take a leap. And then you have him. You have. It's just going to be super gadgety.
Well, here's the thing. De'Ami Brown, you mentioned 2021, free agent.
Yeah.
Noah Brown, free agent. Mm-hmm. That dude named Zacchaeus.
Olamide
Zacchaeus. I just call him some dude named Zacchaeus. Free agent.
Mm-hmm.
So they're rebuilding this thing from scratch. I think they have like a 6th round second-year player still on the team, but they got to rebuild this receiving room from scratch right now.
It also, just following the Commanders as they really started to pop off, don't know what to do with Brian Robinson Jr. Okay. He was a guy who had some really good games and some really terrible games. And Austin Eckler is not even really a running back at this point. If he's in the game, he's getting the ball thrown to him 80% of the time. So I don't know where Debo fits. I think what it is how I see it is Jaden Daniels' ability to extend plays, and it's going back to Debo's roots. Debo's not going to be running routes like that. Debo is going to be an escape valve. I don't know how much you need that escape. You'll have multiple escape valves for Jaden Daniels. You'll have Eckler, you'll have Debo, and you just kind of rock and roll from there.
I don't know if they're going to draft a receiver, which would change the equation a bit if they take a receiver day 1, day 2, or day 3, or day 1 or day 2. But Debo's going to be like a prototypical slot receiver. He's going to be Julian Edelman in this offense. He's going to, and obviously they incorporate a lot of motion. It's Cliff Kingsbury, air raid, all that stuff, doing some of the same gadgety type things that Shanahan was doing in 2022. He's going to be a Julian Edelman. He's going to be a prototypical slot receiver, which is a different role that were expected for Debo Samuel. At least what he could have been last year would have been a good idea of what he's going to look like in Washington.
Crazy stuff for the Niners. They do have plenty of receivers. I look at the Niners receivers like I look at the Kings and the guard situation. They got a bunch, right? I don't know how many of them are elite, but they do have a lot of receivers.
They have a lot, but also need to add more.
Somehow, I'm not really sure how, but that's literally where we're at right now. Well, DeMar DeRozan has been right on target as far as his three-point shooting. We break down the three-point shooting by month, by coach, by running mate. Debo's three-pointers could be the X factor heading down the stretch. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. pricing participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or in third-party delivery platforms.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
You've heard the saying, penny wise, pound foolish, right? It means you do something that will save you a little bit right now, just pennies, but that ends up costing you pounds in the end.
People put off tuning up their furnace because they don't want to take the time or spend the money to get it done.
But it only takes 90 minutes and costs just $87, which is just pennies compared to the huge problems and expenses that can rack up if you don't get your furnace tuned up.
You'll also save money on your energy bills, and your system will last longer.
So don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Call Bell Brothers for a precision tune-up and professional cleaning today.
Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Advanced Infusion Center, where we prioritize your comfort and well-being. Whether you're managing a chronic condition or seeking specialized IV therapy, our state-of-the-art center offers tailored solutions to meet your needs. Advanced Infusion Center's dedicated healthcare professionals are here to ensure your safety and provide personalized care. Conveniently located in Sacramento and Yuba City with flexible scheduling options. Experience a new standard in infusion therapy. Visit Advanced Infusion Center today at advancedinfusion.com.
When you're overwhelmed with tax debt, deciding what to do next is a true win or lose decision. You can lose your car, your paycheck, even your retirement savings, or you can choose someone to help you win this battle with the IRS. Now is the time to tackle your tax debt, but you don't have to do it alone. Meet Priority Tax Relief, veteran-owned and the expert in tax debt resolution. Our priority is fighting for you. Our team has helped clients save millions and can reduce or even erase your tax debt. Call 800-406-1584 right now to talk to our winning team. Priority Tax Relief has a direct line to the IRS. That's right, a fast track to find out if you qualify for life-changing tax relief in just minutes. Priority Tax Relief fights to protect your money, has 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Why wait? Call Priority Tax Relief for your free tax consultation. Call 800-406-1584. That's 800-406-1584. Let's make your taxes our priority. Stop your tax debt now. Call 800-406-1584.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with turbo power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
I gotta be honest here as we hit the 12 o'clock hour. I gotta be honest here. I know I'm the new kid on the block. And, you know, I do feel like, how should I put this without sounding any type of way? I do feel like listeners are more open to tell me how they feel about certain things than they would be. Now, I do see Dave go back and forth with listeners all the time. So Dave is Dave, and he could be talking about peach cobbler for about an hour. So I get all that. But I do find it interesting. This is what confuses me. I'm just being really honest with the listeners here. So with everything that goes on, right? It's a 4-hour show. I understand it's King season. I get all that. But we do 5-10 minutes maybe on Debo and the chat and the text line, Kings. I understand not everyone is sitting here listening for 4 hours, but I get in my car and I leave, and I got the drive guys fired up as I'm deathly afraid to talk about anything else other than Kings. And I'll fire up the drive guys. They'll talk about golf. They'll talk about baseball. And I'm thinking, I know y'all ain't the energy is not the same with the drive guys. Maybe that just comes with the experience, because nobody is coming down Whitey's Road. And if it comes up organically, I'll hop in the car and I'll honestly just forget about certain things that happen because I'm just deathly afraid of talking anything other than Kings. We did 10 minutes on Debo, who's been a Niners great for the last 5 years or so. And maybe and it's not only, some of you have been listening to the show. Some of you, maybe you're brand new, right? And it's, Allen talking, come on, the Kings got a game tonight. I'm not even really getting it from new people. I'm getting it from people that I know you've been listening since 10 o'clock. I can't do 15 minutes on Debo?
Well, you're just looking at it from a numbers standpoint, is that you feel like you can't, when I would just say, and this is inside baseball for the show, but like, talk about whatever you want. People are going to listen to the show, they're not going to listen to the show.
I'm listening to the Drive guys, and they get so much open space on this, and I'm pulling back the curtain. I probably shouldn't even be talking about this.
You know what? People are really going to love 4 minutes on you talking about the 12 minutes you just did on Debo.
So what? Well, it's their fault. It's their fault. Now everyone can cool off. Now we're getting back into some Kings.
Just talk about whatever you want.
We're talking about some Kings here. And DeMar DeRozan and his three-point shooting, okay? And 510 says, I'm all in on a peach cobbler conversation. So am I. Especially if there's ice cream involved.
Yeah, that's a great point. The Drive guys did a whole week-long ice cream bit.
They did. Someone would knock on the door of the studio if I tried to. They would pull me out from this chair, and if it ain't beam-colored ice cream, I would get thrown out of the studio.
No, they wouldn't, Alan.
Yes,
you're just worried about if people will stay on the YouTube or not.
No, it's not about that. All right.
You see two people close out of the YouTube, and you're like, oh no, we have to go back to Kings.
No, it's I'm a show of the people. Somebody out there wants to talk about Debo. All right, but let's get back to this.
You've governed your entire content based on a couple hundred people in our YouTube chat.
Hey. Deep dive on DeMar DeRozan's three-point shooting, inspired by our conversation that we had last week. DeMar DeRozan is getting much, much better from the three-point line as the season goes on. But the question is why and by how much? So let's do it by month here. October and November, 29%. On 2.3 attempts. That was in 15 games. In December, he was 32% on 1.9 attempts in 14 games. January, 19 of 54 for 35% on 3.9 attempts in 14 games. And in February, 19 for 43. That's good for 44% on 3.9 attempts in 11 games. So let's do this by coach now. So he's at 44% in the month of February.
He got better every single month. He went 29, 32, 35, 44.
Now let's do this by coach. Mike Brown, he was 17 of 55. That's good for 30% on 2.1 attempts in 26 games. Doug Christie taking so many more in only one more game. 39 of 101, 38.6% on 3.9 attempts in 27 games. We also, and Kyle broke all this down. Great job, Kyle. By running mate with De'Aaron Fox, he was shooting 33% on 2.6 attempts in 40 games. Now, obviously a small sample size, but without De'Aaron Fox, 41.5% on 4.1 attempts in 13 games. So despite the drastic splits in three-point shooting, DeMar DeRozan is shooting the same from the field with and without De'Aaron Fox. With De'Aaron Fox, 21.5 points on 49% from the field, 16.2 shots per game in 40 games. Without him, obviously 13 games, 23.7 points on 48.9% from the field on 17.3 shots per game. So a lot to break down here, but to boil it all down, DeMar DeRozan, we're watching him, dare I say, become a three-point shooter. Now, I'm not saying he's ever going to be elite, but serviceable, honestly, right now, doesn't feel appropriate. It feels like he's been better than serviceable. So it's been quite the season for DeMar DeRozan. You know how I feel about the amount of minutes that he's been playing. But with that being said, everything is not the same as it was. Nothing was the same as we go from October till now. And when I look at DeMar DeRozan, I think that he is looking himself in the face, understanding who he has to be to continue to elongate his career. And the Kings are reaping the benefits, because you could make the argument, funny enough, obviously not the same player at all, but you could make the argument that this team, as we try to figure out their identity, this team right now, and they're not completely as run and gun as the Bean team, but they are more fit to be that run and gun 3-point shooting team than they were at the beginning of the season when you had a DeMar DeRozan that wasn't really shooting threes. You had a De'Aaron Fox who is really hot and cold when it comes to his 3-point shooting. And you had a Kevin Huerter that hasn't been able to shoot in a very long time. He did have a good game last week with the Bulls, so shout out to Kevin Huerter. So now, and then you have Keegan Murray who's coming around. So
what's up, Sacramento?
It stinks that it's such a small period of time that the Kings have, because I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the season. But with that being said, there is an opportunity for them to find that identity as a 3-point shooting team. And when you do look at the numbers, of course, 50 3-pointers is not going to happen. But if you look at the numbers, it's not the worst thing in the world to want this team to shoot threes when you have DeMar DeRozan shooting 44% on basically 4 attempts per game. And the Domantas Sabonis thing, I think, is a bit done as far as his 3-point shooting. But you have DeMar DeRozan shooting at 44% in February. You have Keegan Murray shooting the best he's shot since his rookie year, even though it's not there yet, but the best he's shot since his rookie year. Zack LaVine having one of, if not the best 3-point shooting season of his career. The only one kind of bringing up the rear a little bit is Malik Monk, which honestly I'll allow because of all the other things that have been put on his plate. So as we continue to have this discussion about the identity of this team, the 3-point shooting, even though they didn't shoot it well against the Rockets are a really rough and tough team. It's going to be a rock fight every time you face them, but they're starting to figure out their identity. You have a Zack LaVine who can shoot it himself. He himself can touch the paint. So DeMar DeRozan has really unlocked some things for this team offensively. And honestly, you get a guy like that who just can obviously shoot the basketball. It was all about reps, and I think that we're just seeing the reps and the fruits of his labor in real time.
Yeah, I've told this story before on the air, but I think it's really intuitive, which is when I was doing my San Antonio Spurs book, one of the things that I thought was super, super interesting was DeMar DeRozan at the center of the NBA evolution, where Popovich took him from like averaging 3-point attempts per game down to 1.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I just want you to shoot mid-ranges. And DeMar DeRozan kind of fell out of favor in San Antonio because his game became a little too predictable. And then he goes to Chicago. His 3-point attempts per game go from 1 a game to 3 a game again. And DeMar DeRozan's back to being an all-star 2 years in a row in Chicago. So even not great 3-point shooters, or quote unquote not great 3-point shooters, still need to take 3-pointers because of spacing and everything else. What is so interesting about DeRozan is that you're seeing him get better game by game as his role changes. As you look at the trends going back to by coach, he's shooting almost 2 times as many 3-pointers under Doug Christie as Mike Brown, and he's shooting it at an 8% better clip. You look at it in February, and you mentioned the 44% on 3.9 attempts, but if you just take January and February as a whole, which is about the time when Doug Christie took over as the coach, he's shooting almost 40% at the 3-point line on nearly 4 attempts per game. And that is a great 3-point shooter. That's not just an above average 3-point shooter. That's playing like a great 3-point shooter. We didn't include the stats for the last game, but he was 1 for 2 at the 3-point line. So not a lot of shots, but it adds up to 50%. It is so interesting to see how the Kings are kind of, as a team, regressing to the mean. Because remember, at the start of the season, they were like one of the worst teams in NBA history in terms of open 3-pointers. They were shooting like 28% as a team, and no one could really explain why they were missing the open threes. But now they're kind of regressing to the mean in terms of 3-point shooting at large. And players like DeRozan, you mentioned Keegan Murray, adding Zack LaVine, he's already a great 3-point shooter, and he, after starting out real rough, has evened things out quite a bit. Everyone's regressing to the mean a bit, and that includes DeMar DeRozan essentially being a 40% 3-point shooter since Doug Christie took over as the head coach.
Well, the Kings added someone else, and it's a big boy, and we haven't talked about this big boy yet. Could he also help the Kings as Domantas Sabonis is out for at least a week. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Having some fun in the last segment about how the Kings conversation is always going to be there, but sometimes we are going to deviate from that. And, the season is honestly, we're at the red hot time. It's go time with the Kings, right? You have a month and a half left for the Kings to either put up or shut up. As we kind of joked about spending some time talking about Debo, and based on when people tune in saying talk Kings, the text line is all over it, saying there are a lot of numbers here, the 510, the 916, saying, hey, we can't wait for you to talk Kings talk A's being a baseball guy. And trust me, as the A's kind of heat up in Sacramento, there will be a lot of A's talk to break down. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I like the A's chances. There's 3 wild card spots in the AL, and even though the A's aren't projected to do very well this season in the division, I like them better than the Angels. I like them to make some noise. I worry about the pitching, but for me, I think that offense can hit with anyone. I'm big on Lawrence Butler. He's my guy. I'm trying really hard to get him on the show. I also love Brent Rooker, that signing there. Lawrence Butler is probably going to get an extension here soon. So yeah, there will be plenty of A's talk. And obviously that kind of coincides with the Kings season ending. And look, there's going to be plenty to talk about when that offseason comes around and what the Kings will do and won't do. But don't you worry. Once the A's really get going here, I'm going to be at a bunch of the games. I was just talking to Frankie about my media pass for those games. So I'm going to be in the building. Obviously, I'm going to be spending probably more time than my wife would like at Sutter Health between the in-game hosting that I'll be doing for the River Cats and just covering the A's for the station and things like that. So there will be plenty of baseball talk once we heat up.
This is what I wanted, Alan. Again, you just talk about whatever you want. The people say they want you to stop talking about things that aren't the Kings. Do 3 minutes about you getting a press credential from the A's.
That's right.
Do that. That is riveting radio.
Someone said Dave did 10 minutes on the Oscars and how they should only celebrate blockbuster movies during his show today. And I believe it. I only get to catch, I'm sleeping, and getting ready for the show, of course. But yeah, I normally only catch the last couple hours of Carmichael Dave with Jason Ross, and then I'm in there for the crosstalk. But whether that could have been done during the 8 o'clock hour, doesn't matter. 916, I believe you. Yeah. I definitely believe you.
He was wearing pants on his head, also true. Alan, and you're worried about we're not talking enough about Jonas Valanciunas.
That's
and
right.
Dave is wearing pants on his head. Yeah.
Give us the Jonas Valanciunas LeBron, Alan. That's what we want. That's what we want to hear.
Yes, just talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's your show. Don't worry about what 2 people on the YouTube chat are going to do.
This is, I am a man of the people. All right, and I'm one of those guys who I try to make everybody happy in all of life, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
You're a man of the people as long as they're listening to your show.
That's right. That's right.
You don't care about the people who aren't listening to your show. You're a man of only the people who are listening to your show.
I care about everyone. And you know who else I care about? Skal Labissière. As the Kings sign Skal Labissière, he has another stint coming up with the Sacramento Kings. He is on a 10-day contract. I have some of his G League stats cooked up. I actually got to see Skal Labissière in person do his thing at the G League Rising Stars game or G League All-Star game out there in San Francisco. So in 2024, 2025, he is averaging 16. He's played in 16 games, averaging 22 minutes, 13.2 points on 5.5 field goals made on 8.5 field goals attempted, 64% from the field. Not really taking threes. He is averaging 1.5 attempts a game. He is shooting 41% from three. He's only taking 1.5 attempts a game, 73% from the line. He's averaging 6.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and 1.3 blocks. Kyle, we talked a little bit about this before the show. You're not convinced that he's going to see any time at all.
Well, he's on a 10-day, so
Yeah.
no, I don't think he's going to play garbage time. Think about Deshaun Nix. He only played for
this
garbage
is better
time.
than Deshaun Nix.
They went to Deshaun Nix before Skal Labissière.
Yeah, but different positions.
It's the same thing. He's going to play garbage time, and he's there just in case someone else gets hurt.
I believe we're going to see some Skal Labissière.
Well, if they wanted Skal Labissière, they could have done it at any point. They could have given him a two-way contract.
No, but I'm saying now, look, he's 28 years old. He's about to turn, I'm doing some 28 and 349 days. So he's about to turn 29. So this isn't your normal
10-year vet.
G League guy here. You know, I think I'll put it to you like this. What you're essentially saying is if we see Skal Labissière, something has either gone really right or really wrong.
Yes, that is exactly what I am saying. There's no other reason why Skal Labissière should be on the floor for the Kings at this point. It's nothing against him. It's just like if we talked about it earlier, then what do you do with the G League players who or the NBA players who go to the G League and ball out? Or what do you do with Quentin Grimes putting up 44 points? I don't think we give enough credit to the fact that the gap between player 400 and player 600 is probably larger than we want to admit it is. And if they had wanted Skal on the team before, they could have added Skal to the team literally at any point over Crawford or Mason Jones or Deshaun Nix.
But these are different positions, Kyle. He's a center.
Yeah, but they
didn't need center help.
But he's the third center.
I mean, well, they did need center help, I guess, before Valanciunas, but
I mean, they had Alex Len.
Yeah,
he would have been the fourth string center then, and he's the fourth string center now. The reason he's being called up is that they can't have Isaac Jones play a certain number of games because of his two-way contract status. And so if they have to go to garbage time, they're going to throw Skal in there so that Isaac Jones
put some respect on his name, Kyle.
Labissière?
You need to put some. I'm looking here, like I said.
French Haitian, Labissière?
Round 1, 28th pick in the 2016 draft. Like I said, he's about to turn 29 years old. You're adding a 6'10", shooting 41% from three on 1.5 attempts. 13 a game. Oh, like I said, a grizzled vet.
People don't realize he was, I think, the number 1 or number 2 high school prospect in his class, a class that I'm pretty sure had Ben Simmons. And he was excellent, truly, truly excellent. It didn't work out for him in the NBA. That's fine, but he was a beast. Think about it this way. He was the prize recruit for John Calipari after the year that they had Karl Towns and Devin Booker and Willie Cauley-Stein and all those dudes, and they went undefeated and lost to whatever his name was, Frank Kaminsky or whatever.
So,
like, he was that dude in high school. I'm not saying that he can't play. I'm saying that he's not going to play.
Like I said, something may have gone very right or very wrong. I am, you know what happened? I watched some highlights last night, and I thought, oh, okay. And I saw some clips of him during his previous stints when he was with the big league club. He had that game winner when they were in those ridiculous baby blue jerseys that just had a lion on the front. I saw that game winner, and it made me think, hey, maybe he could add a little something. He's been through this. He's been through this before.
You mean 6 years ago? You mean the last time he played an NBA game was before the COVID pandemic?
916 Styles, I love your enthusiasm for Scal, but I'm with Kyle here with the question mark as if they don't really want to be with Kyle, but they are. Look, we're probably not going to see him.
No, we're going to see him just in garbage time.
That's right, because when the Kings are beating the brakes off the Mavs today,
they can't put in Isaac Jones because then he would push them over the salary cap. Look, I'm going to reiterate this again because I still think it's very funny that I just learned this. Has not played in the NBA since before the pandemic.
Look, man, I saw what I needed to see in person, and I think you're being a little bit not disrespectful, but you're understating in Scal we trust. It's in Scal we trust now.
There's a reason why they said Sabonis was out for a week and that he got a 10-day contract.
Hey, that's where it starts.
He is a body that is added to the roster.
He is a big body, and he's gonna do some things. It might be in garbage time, but look, I'm not gonna have you be ageist here. Okay, all right.
He's 28.
No.
He's closer to my age than yours.
Hold on. This guy is doing something. Like I said, we probably won't see him, but I'm not going to let you disrespect Scal. All right, on the other side, we have entirely lost the plot with the most improved player as Cade Cunningham, a number 1 overall pick, currently has the best odds to win it. I have broken down this is what I spent my morning doing. I have broken down all of the past 20 most improved players and where they were drafted. Here is a note. Kyle and I did not agree on any of this in the pre-show. Let's see if we can work it out on air. And where do you fall on this? Where is Keon Ellis's odds for most improved player? Don't get me started. On the other side, we break it all down. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Northwest Exteriors.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center for your Monday, seeing some brighter skies around today. Today's going to be a quiet and dry day with highs expected in lower 60s. Overnight lows will drop back into low 40s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Northwest Exteriors wants to keep you cool all season long. Trusted in Sacramento for heating and cooling systems. Book your tune-up today as part of our 30th anniversary special. Call 888-TRUST-NW or visit trustnorthwest.com.
Simply the best. Trust Northwest.
Spring is in the air, and that means gigantic savings for all your oil change needs at Jiffy Lube today. Get a $25 gift card with the purchase of any Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change through May 31st at your local Jiffy Lube service center in the greater Sacramento areas. And don't forget about the additional $30 off online coupon at jiffylube.com. Terms apply. Valid email address required. See pennzoil.com/rewards for details. Jiffy Lube, huge spring savings for you today.
We rely heavily on our HVAC systems during the cold valley winters and hot valley summers. That's why there are so many HVAC companies out there. So when you need a new system or a tune-up, where do you turn? I turned to Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. Once our heater checked out, we checked in at leesair.com. The entire experience exceeded our high expectations. You want prompt service from people who know what they're doing, can save you money, and will treat you right? For your HVAC needs, Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating on the web at leesair.com. Ask about their $99 HVAC tune-up service, license number 635355.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, reminding you that every deal at Folsom Lake Ford is a slam dunk. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, including America's best-selling truck for over 47 years, Ford F-Series, plus a huge selection of Broncos, Bronco Sports, and all of Ford's award-winning SUVs at FolsomLakeFord.com. Listen, I know a great play when I see one, and if you want to save on a new Ford, you gotta drive the lane straight to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest financing, and Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. So hurry to Folsom Lake Ford, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they're my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop them online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Meanwhile at Xfinity. Okay, huddle up. Do you realize how many fans stream basketball? It's madness.
But real fans stream with Xfinity Internet.
Totally. We've engineered the fastest connection.
With reduced buffering and low lag.
'Cause making streaming better is what we do!
Yeah!
Yeah!
Can we let go now? It's really not a huddle with two people.
Switch to Xfinity Internet and stream live sports from the best seat in the house. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Actual speed vary. Not guaranteed.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531. 808-2531.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Save Mart and McKee Brothers Plumbing and Rooter Incorporated. Find out more at CITPFest.com. High Voltage live boxing action returns to the venue on March 8th as Uppercut Promotions presents Thunder Showdown 2. With 8 big fights, it's a night of great boxing action you won't want to miss. Thunder Showdown 2, coming March 8th to the venue at Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Fight card subject to change.
There's no better time than now to get yourself into a brand new Jeep because it's Jeep Adventure Days at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, offering the best deals in town and a selection other dealers are jealous of. Stop on by. They're just off of Business 80 across from Hagen Oaks Golf Complex. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
So many things, big and little, make you uniquely you. Your hobbies, dreams, careers, family, and more. Addiction to drugs, including opioids and stimulants, can strip these away from you. Recover your life. Choose treatment for drug addiction and get back to what matters most. Find a provider and proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at choosechangeca.org.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and vocal.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
About to break down the most improved player conversation. We've done it before, but I wanted to do this. And really break down what I thought like I was seeing in my head when it comes to how ridiculous this most improved conversation has been, as the odds for the most improved player have come out. Cade Cunningham is minus 600. So Cade Cunningham, and Kyle, was that 2022 when he went number one?
2021.
2021.
So this is year 4 for Cade Cunningham.
Insane.
He has already signed a max extension.
Insane. Cade Cunningham minus 600 to win most improved player. Tyler Hero second at plus 700. Christian Brown, I'm in at plus 1,500, so he ain't going to win. Dyson Daniels, I'm in.
He's a little young.
And yes.
Former lottery pick.
Yeah, so I'm in more than that. Evan Mobley, I guess it's taken some time.
No, he's the same draft class.
I know. Amen Thompson at plus 10,000. Jalen Williams at plus 10. DeAndre Hunter, my guy, who has been playing very well for the Cavs. I wanted him on the Kings, Kyle.
You called that.
I wanted him so bad on the Kings.
He's going to be their Bruce Brown, and I'm glad we're here now because I'm going to put this out there now. Cleveland is going to the championship. I'm putting it out there now. The Cavs
Why
are
do
going
you do this? By the way, and we're about to get to Mitch before we break down these numbers. By the way, let me find it. Somebody on the text line said, Kyle, and I don't know why they're doing this because I know it's going to get you going. The 530 says, Kyle, please don't say Klay Thompson is going to get a 0 burger tonight. The reason 530 is bringing this up, if you're just now joining us, is Kyle has been doing this bit where ever since Klay Thompson scored 0 points in the play-in game, Kyle refuses to believe that Klay Thompson will score any points. He got lucky the first time the Kings played the Mavs because Klay didn't play. And last game, Kyle almost screwed us all over because Klay Thompson played very well.
Oh, he hit the three-pointer to take the lead.
He did.
If DeRozan
don't do it, Kyle.
If DeRozan hadn't stepped through the two defenders and hit that shot against Dallas in overtime, I would have been yelled at.
Yeah.
And to that texter's point, I guess we'll see.
We will see. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Mitch, who wants to be a part of the conversation.
How's it going, Alan?
Hey, Mitch. What's up?
Okay. The first one, the Debo. I think the Commanders might win that division. They're going to give the Eagles a run for their money.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good deal. Sorry, they only got a 5th-round pick. I think it's just the money they want to pay, so they got to have a big bill there. Glad the Kings traded for Jake and Jonas because Sabonis has been overworked. I'm not surprised it didn't happen sooner. He's too much. Glad we got some big guys in the meantime.
Thanks for the call, Mitch. Yeah, I know that Debo segment, we talked more about the Commanders than the Niners. I mean, the Niners, they have a ton of receivers, so
I just think there's nothing interesting from the Niners standpoint in this.
It was time. It was time. Now you don't have to worry. That's one less player with a podcast on your team, huh?
Sure, but if Paul George has taught us anything, you play better when you do have the podcast, which, yeah, the reason we didn't talk about the Niners, I think, is it's simple. The Niners did a salary dump.
Yeah, and they have plenty of receivers. We're just trying to figure out if they're good or not.
They have receivers, just not, ones that we know are good.
And
other than Juwan Jennings, who almost won Super Bowl MVP.
And the Brandon Ayuk part of it, where some people are wondering what he'll look like after the ACL, which none of us know. All right, as we get to this, like I said, I've broken this thing down. I looked up every most improved player where they were drafted in the last 20 years, okay? So from 2004 up until last year. So I'm looking here, and there's really only been a couple times before you get to the 2020s, okay, where they're picking really high players. So from 2004 to 2018, there was only one player selected for most improved player that was selected higher than 10th because CJ McCollum won it as the 10th pick and Paul George won it as the 10th pick. You have Kevin Love, who in 2010, 2011 won it as the 5th overall pick. But this is when most improved player was great, okay? This is when it was great. You had Zach Randolph as the 19th pick, Bobby Simmons as the 42nd pick, Boris Diaw as the 21st pick, Monte Ellis as the 40th pick, Hito Turkoglu as the 16th, Danny Granger as the 17th, Aaron Brooks as the 26th, Ryan Anderson, shout out Sacramento, as the 21st, Goran Dragic in 2014 as the 45th, Jimmy Butler as the 30th, Giannis as the 15th in 2017. Then things just go completely left after 2017. And this is where Kyle and I started to agree on some things and disagree on other things. Victor Oladipo, 2nd overall pick. Now, the number doesn't really do it justice because he had bounced around a little bit. But Victor Oladipo, 2nd overall pick. You had Pascal Siakam, the 27th, which, of course, I'm okay with. Then after that, this is when things get squirrely. Brandon Ingram as the 2nd overall pick. Julius Randle as the 7th overall pick. This is probably the most egregious one, that 2022 Ja Morant as the 2nd overall pick. Lauri Markkanen as the 7th. Tyrese Maxey, which I'm okay with, Kyle's not, last season, the 21st. But the last 20 years, and I didn't go back any further than this, this would be the first time in 20 years, at least 20 years, probably more than that. Cade Cunningham in his 4th season to win most improved player as the 1st overall pick That's more egregious than Ja Morant as the second. It's insane to me. I don't know why this upsets me so much, but it does.
I think the most improved player is kind of ridiculous for that reason, because it should be the Alvarados and guys like that who get more consideration. But I also understand there's about 15 of those in the league, and there's not a lot of all-star caliber players. Nonetheless, guys who go from being bench players when they're drafted to being all-stars.
Right.
Which, for that case, I understand why Julius Randle got it. Totally get it. He, a former top prospect, top draft pick, but he was on his third team in the New York Knicks. He was on his third team, and this was his first all-star appearance with the Knicks. Larry Markkinen, while I don't love the idea of just giving it to a number one on a bad team, like Larry Markkinen went from being a throw-in in the Donovan Mitchell trade to starting in the All-Star game that year. I understand why they gave it to him. The two that are just egregious are Ja Morant and Cade Cunningham. Like, those are just top draft picks. No one drafted in the top 5 should win a most improved player on their first contract. That's just ridiculous.
No, it's ridiculous. Let me show you this, Kyle. Let me show you this. And the fact that this guy isn't even a top, and again, this is just Vegas, and they know this guy isn't a top 5, Kyle. A top 5 favorite to win most improved player is ridiculous to me. He plays in LA on the other team in LA.
Oh.
Norman Powell, okay, this season is averaging 23.8 points per game. His career, Mr. Ledbetter, he's averaging 13.2. And he's nowhere on this list. That to me means that this award is broken. For him to not even be, this is just Vegas odds, don't get me wrong. He has to finish somewhere in the voting. He has to.
Yeah, he's never had a season in his career with more than 20 points per game, but he's just not getting any consideration. I don't know what to do with most improved player at this point. I think all these awards are kind of silly, but most improved player just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me anymore. But I don't know what it would take to, this is my problem, is I don't think people who go from being number 3s to number 1s on bad teams should get most improved player. You're not improving. You're just taking more shots. I don't think top draft picks should get most improved player. So at that point, I'm just like, I'm kind of making it such a fine line where it's like, if you just know, you know, with most improved player. So I don't know. I don't have as much of an issue with even Brandon Ingram. I don't have a huge issue with him winning it as the number 2 pick. Cause again, he was on his second team and he took the Pelicans to the playoffs. So it's like, I don't have as much of an issue with that one, but it's like, yeah, the former top picks are the ones where I'm like, there's definitely no way they should even be in consideration.
On the other side, we have a conversation that kind of confuses me a little bit because I'm the baseball guy. But Travis Hunter, I do think, is getting killed a little bit too much for what he said, comparing playing both ways on offense and defense in football to what Shohei Ohtani does on the baseball field. I know I'm the baseball guy, but I do think people are going a little bit too hard at Travis Hunter. If you didn't hear what he said, we will play it for you on the other side and get your thoughts on who has a tougher road playing two ways in football or a pitcher and a hitter in baseball. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
As we all continue to hear scary ads about the IRS, Tax Relief Advocates is leading the way, showing U.S. taxpayers why they don't need to be afraid of the IRS. Whether you owe the IRS $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, TRA has a solution. With major tax relief initiatives currently in effect, we could reduce or even eliminate what you owe to the IRS, business or personal. Our experts know how to resolve tax problems and end all collections. TRA is America's highly rated tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star Google reviews. Don't wait. You may qualify for a significant tax debt reduction that can give you a fresh start, but you must call for a free consultation and to check what tax relief you qualify for. Visit TRA.com or call our relief hotline at 800-335-8578. 800-335-8578. Again, that's 800-335-8578. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop. When you're overwhelmed with tax debt, deciding what to do next is a true win or lose decision. You can lose your car, your paycheck, even your retirement savings, or you can choose someone to help you win this battle with the IRS. Now is the time to tackle your tax debt, but you don't have to do it alone. Meet Priority Tax Relief, veteran-owned and the expert in tax debt resolution. Our priority is fighting for you. Our team has helped clients save millions and can reduce or even erase your tax debt. Call 800-406-1584 right now to talk to our winning team. Priority Tax Relief has a direct line to the IRS. That's right, a fast track to find out if you qualify for life-changing tax relief in just minutes. Priority Tax Relief fights to protect your money, has 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Why wait? Call Priority Tax Relief for your free tax consultation. Call 800-406-1584. That's 800-406-1584. Let's make your taxes our priority. Stop your tax debt now. Call 800-406-1584.
Hey, what's up, Sacramento? It's Kyle Draper. Turn up the cleanliness at your restaurant, healthcare, or industrial business with Alsco Uniforms, the official sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew. We've got you covered with crisp uniforms, hygienically clean linens, floor mats, and of course, mops delivered weekly. But that's not all. Alsco Uniforms also offers weekly services for first aid and restroom supplies. Discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Just go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's ALSCO.com.
One ticket, 2 huge shows. The Sacramento Boat Show and the Big RV Show. Multiple dealers discounting all the best brands. March 6th through 9th at Sacramento's Cal Expo. Find discounts at 2hugeshows.com.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
We have a winner. Zack LaVine has won Western Conference Player of the Week. 3-0. The team was last week. Zack LaVine in those games averaged 28 points per game. Obviously, he had that huge game as well. 5.7 rebounds on 63.6% from three. Just a ridiculous game from Zack LaVine. And, you know, people are chiming in on the text line about, you know, the comparisons that happen and what the Kings got back for Fox. And you are paying them a lot of money. Now, you're not going to get this every game, right? But this was the hope. And again, this is why I'm so intrigued as to how this season ends and what the decision is based on how the season ends. Because you got talent. They got talent. They brought in talent. How do you make it work? Could this team actually work? For everyone, all the naysayers that didn't think it would. Could this team work? It all remains to be seen. This is, and you know, Kyle always gets confused when I go Dragon Ball Z reference here, but when you're sitting there watching Goku about to go Super Saiyan, and
I know that guy. You're
waiting as Cell is on the other side, and he's just sitting there, and you're thinking, okay, is it going to go? And the 30-minute show ends, and then it says, next time on Dragon Ball Z, and the first thing you're waiting to do is to see if Goku actually goes Super Saiyan, that's where we're at with the Kings. The last episode is coming up here in the last month and a half, and we will see for the season finale how this whole thing ends. That's where we're at right now.
When I saw that Zack LaVine just won the Western Conference Player of the Week, my first thought was Steph Curry must have had some bad games other than that 56-pointer.
That's true.
That should have been in the bag for Steph Curry after he put up that stat line.
And didn't he have 30 against the Sixers even though they lost?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like, whew, those other 2 or 3 games they played must have been tough because I don't know how you score 56 points in a game and not win Conference Player of the Week.
As we discuss the most improved player conversation that we were having, 530 says, if you're one of the top picks in the draft and you get most improved, you're just finally playing to your expectations. That's what you were picked for. That's where I'm at, 530. That you are spot on. That's how I feel. Then UPS Chris chimes in and says, if Fultz comes back next year and is an all-star, would you guys be okay with him winning comeback player of the year or most improved player of the year? I definitely would. And to that, I also agree with UPS Chris.
Yeah.
The problem is Cade Cunningham is what we don't disagree on, Kyle and myself, is how egregious Ja Morant was and how even more egregious Cade Cunningham winning is. What you're saying, UPS Chris, I don't think anybody would have a problem with. We've all followed Markelle Fultz in that story. Cade Cunningham, that's absurd. Absurd.
Yeah. I think where we're differentiating is like, so there's the next tier, which is the Larry Markkanens, the Julius Randles, the Brandon Ingrams, the Victor Oladipos. You have a problem with that because these are all top 5 to 7 picks in the draft. Mm-hmm. I looked at it like, when Oladipo won it, that was when he was on the Pacers. That was his 3rd team of his career. It was Julius Randle's 3rd team of his career. It was Markkanen's 3rd team of his career. And Brandon Ingram had just been traded from the Lakers to the Pelicans. So I looked at those. I'm like, I'm fine with that because you only have but so many players who can win the award.
Yeah.
So they're just not doing the Goran Dragic 45th pick in the draft anymore. The one that I was shocked by was Jokic was never even in consideration.
No, I thought that was a great point. Somehow Jokic slipped through the cracks. Obviously, we saw Giannis win it, and timing, I guess, is everything, and how you improve can be, if it's not as aggressive. I think the Cade Cunningham thing, a lot of this is people feeling bad or people being very happy for Detroit. And the Lions stunk for a long time, and the Lions became the darlings. The Pistons stunk for a long time. The Pistons are probably the best story in the NBA, and that is clouding, I think, the vision of, so you're giving him this because the Pistons actually got it right.
And you're not going to give the Pistons Coach of the Year because that's going to go to Kenny Atkinson.
So so you got to give them something for being in the playoff conversation.
Yeah, exactly. It's a cop-out. Norman Powell was a great shout. Like, that is exactly former 2nd-round pick. Mm-hmm. Now in year 10 is making a pseudo leap. I know I said before, I don't think people who go from 3s to 1s should be getting that accolade, but Norman Powell and the Clippers are still winning, despite the fact Norman Powell's been the number 1 for most of the season.
No, they were the Clippers. Everybody had told them they're cooked. Everyone had told them they're cooked, and we didn't know when Kawhi was coming back, and they're very much in it. Obviously they've kind of stumbled. The Lakers own them, by the way. The Lakers are completely own the Clippers right now. But we wanted to get to this and have some fun with it because as the resident baseball guy, I was torn, man. I was torn. So during the combine, Travis Hunter was asked, is it more difficult to play both sides in football or to do both? Now, obviously, it's both at the highest level, which I think makes this a little convoluted because Shohei is doing this at the highest level and Travis hasn't done it yet. So we'd have to see, but we have the Deons and some guys like that we can refer back to. But this is what Travis had to say when he was asked.
Probably me what I do in football because it's a lot on your body. Tony, he's a great player, but you got to do a lot in football.
So, the audio was kind of jumbled there, the whole thing with the combine. But if you didn't hear, basically Travis Hunter said that it's tougher to do it in football. And I know he's getting destroyed for it. I mean, everyone and baseball gatekeepers are saying how ridiculous this is. He basically said him playing both sides in football is more difficult than Shohei hitting and pitching in baseball. Now, as the old saying goes, the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a baseball. Where I'm struggling and where I'll kind of break this down for me personally is that skill-wise, the answer is Shohei, without a doubt. Skill-wise, the answer is Shohei. But with Shohei really no longer playing the field, this guy's going to DH the rest of his life, right? So with Shohei DHing when he's not pitching and then pitching once every 4 or 5 days, I think the argument is skill because of Shohei doing it at a high level. But endurance-wise and the number of snaps that Travis Hunter will play if somebody allows him to play both sides, it's Travis Hunter. It's Travis Hunter. And look, for the John Boys and all these, Barstool baseball and these baseball writers that are just ripping Travis Hunter, I think endurance-wise, it's really not a question. I think what's happening is you're looking at how good Shohei is at doing it, and it's a little bit confusing to say doing what Shohei does at the level Shohei is doing it versus whatever Travis Hunter will be, because we don't know. That's what they're laying their hat on. But just straight up, endurance-wise and playing, if Travis Hunter does, which he won't, right? And that's the other part of it.
Yeah, he won't.
But if you made the argument Travis Hunter playing high-level D1, both sides of the football, versus Shohei hitting and pitching, which he did not do last season, but hitting and pitching at the major league level, I don't think it's as ridiculous endurance-wise. Skill-wise, I think Shohei, it's way more skill what Shohei is doing, especially at Shohei's level. But the way Travis Hunter kind of got laughed at the building, and I don't want to lose the plot here myself, but that's kind of why people aren't as connected to baseball. It's this air of you're an idiot, you don't like baseball because you don't understand it, which I think hurts people from wanting to know more about baseball. Travis Hunter now is not going to feel any more connection to baseball because he's being dragged by every baseball account on social media. And I don't think it was as ridiculous as he said.
Baseball people are going to defend their sport, and that's fine.
But I can defend the sport that I love, but also see where Travis Hunter is coming from.
Yeah, but the key difference there, and this is the other part, is Travis Hunter's going to physically take a lot of hits. Like, physically, It is harder for him to do that than it is what Shohei Ohtani is doing, which is not to discount the physical toll it takes on Shohei Ohtani. It's just that dude's playing 130 snaps. He's got to get massages on his Achilles after every game.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're getting popped as a receiver and popped as a cornerback over and over again.
I think that if Shohei, it sounds more ridiculous if Shohei was still playing the field on his days off. That endurance then, and because it's more games, right? I guess here's another good point. You have 17 games versus 162. But again, for me, Shohei's pitching every 4 or 5 games, and he's just DHing. If Shohei was even playing first base, right, which maybe he'll get out there every now and then, but if Shohei was playing the field on the days he wasn't pitching, then I'd say, okay, Travis sounds crazy, but he's just hitting on the days he's not pitching. More games, a lot more games, but I'm agreeing with the baseball accounts, but I don't think that, and the baseball people, but I don't think that Travis Hunter should have been laughed out the room like he was laughed out the room. And I think how people react like that is why, a lot of people feel disconnected to baseball. And it kind of annoys me as a baseball guy because you don't have to be like that. You don't have to act like that. All right, it's time. We're way over time, so it is time for our Kings versus Mavericks preview. Feels like they've played each other a bunch of times. Well, they're about to run it back tonight, and there's a lot on the line. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
It's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
It's March, and you're in luck because at Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, they're slam dunking the competition with unbeatable deals on overhead doors. Hey there, Jason Ross here, and whether you're upgrading your home, just like we did, or need a reliable, secure garage door, they've got the perfect match for you. And March is the perfect time for a fresh start. Take your home to the next level with high-quality doors that stand strong, look amazing, and are installed by trusted professionals. The winning results we got is more than we could have asked for, and you can do the same. So visit overheaddoorofsacramento.com today and check out their showroom as well. And when you do, mention me, Jason Ross, or Sacktown Sports, and find out about the $150 off a new garage door with the purchase of a garage door opener. Your dream door, just like us, is a click away. You can call them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Spring is finally here, and so are spring projects. So get them started at Harbor Freight's parking lot sale. This weekend, save on products like pressure washers for $69.99, 42-inch roller cabinets for under $500, plus 30% off Hercules corded power tools. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until 3/9/25 while supplies last. Limitations apply, so spring in before it's over.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends at American Energy. It's cold, and American Energy wants you to stay warm and make sure your system's operating safely. Here's the deal. A $49 tune-up inspection, which is regularly $119. That's a full safety and duct inspection. But guess what? If your system's over 10 years old, the tune-up is on them. That's right. It's free. Give them a call right now. $50 off your first recommended repair. And if you need a new furnace, half off the price of a new unit. Oh, by the way, breaking news. They're hiring right now. Here's the deal. They'll train you. Full benefits, generous incentive-based pay. Just call today for more details at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Not only great deals from American Energy, but possibly a new career for you. Check them out at theaeway.com for an instant quote and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140. Allen Stiles.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
On Sacktown Sports.
925, as we had a conversation about, is it tougher to be Travis Hunter or Shohei Ohtani, I had to compare it to college because we don't know how much Travis Hunter is going to do in the NFL. But even in college, right, a high level D1 college football, the amount of snaps he played endurance-wise, I'm a baseball guy, but there's no question. Skill-wise, I also think there's no question it's Ohtani. And everyone is, I think, just getting kind of upset because of how Ohtani has done it, right? Being a pitcher that finished, what was it, top 6 in the Cy Young, while also hitting the most home runs in the National League. So I get it's just not really a great comparison right now. We have to see what Travis Hunter is going to do in the NFL and how much he's even going to do it. 925 says, what if Ohtani is a closer? And in my opinion, they said 50 saves, 50 bombs, 50 steals. Yeah, that'd be crazy impressive. But in my opinion, if Ohtani goes to a closer role and is also still just a DH, that kind of hurts his argument. Then he's doing even less on those days. Now, I guess to your point, a closer makes way more appearances, depending on the team, makes more appearances than a starter. So maybe they're saying he would be doing more defensively, but you're doing more defensively in a smaller capacity versus every 4 or 5 games, but you're the starting pitcher. So I think that might kind of even out, 925.
Well, do you remember a couple of years ago during the World Baseball Classic where Ohtani was basically a long reliever? Like he would pitch the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th?
Yeah.
I think that role might work well for Ohtani when it gets to playoff time. Mm-hmm. Like in the regular season, do what you got to do, but then once the playoffs roll around, have him be a back-end reliever who's going 5, 6, 7 outs, not like the guy who's like, we're just going to go lefty-righty matchup or whatever, get 1 out and then go to the lefty to close out the game or whatever. I think that would be a great role for Ohtani based on coming off of his second Tommy John surgery in 5 years. You don't see a ton of people get back to great pitching after that. But then again, not a ton of people are Shohei Ohtani.
No, he's a freak. But I would say my hot take on the Ohtani thing is he will not be, within the next 3 years, he will not be a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. To 925's point, I think that the relief pitching aspect is closer than we think.
But also, the Dodgers could kind of use him in that role because the Dodgers have like 10 starting pitchers.
Yeah, specifically being on the Dodgers. And maybe that was part of his decision. Specifically being on the Dodgers. I know going into the deal, he very much, what was it? He needed to, the 4th or 5th day, it was some semantics where he wanted to be a 5th day starter or 4th day starter, and some teams weren't able to accommodate that. But I think within the next 3 years, Shohei Ohtani is a relief pitcher and a hitter. I don't think he'll be a starter.
Yeah,
so.
But even if bring it back to the Travis Hunter thing, even if Travis Hunter doesn't become a two-way player in the NFL, or his body wears out just like Ohtani and he has to commit to one side or the other, there's been great two-way players who are Hall of Famers, Charles Woodson, Champ Bailey, who did it in college and couldn't do it in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the physical endurance of it all is too difficult because football is such a grueling sport.
That's why everyone getting all up in arms in this doesn't make very much sense to me, because because it's so difficult to do that people don't do it. So if Travis Hunter did pull it off in the NFL, I think that we would be singing a different tune. But we just don't even think he's going to pull it off, which kind of helps Travis Hunter's argument. The problem is you're arguing college versus Major League Baseball and someone who is an MVP. That's why it's up in arms. But if Travis Hunter actually did it and did it at a high level, nobody would be laughing at Travis Hunter. But it's funny, we're laughing at him because it's so difficult, he's not even going to be able to do it.
Yeah, because just like Shohei Ohtani, he's trying to keep pushing his body, and what has happened, he's blown out his elbow twice.
Yeah.
And Travis Hunter will blow out something playing 130 snaps a game.
At the NFL level.
It happened in college. He missed the back half of his sophomore season because of injury.
Yeah.
Now, that was because the Colorado State player laid him out that one time, but he missed a bunch of games in college. It's not like he was this picture of health while he was playing at Colorado either.
As we get into the Kings-Mavericks preview, the Kings have not really ever seen the Mavericks at full strength, which I'm not really upset with, and nobody has really seen the Mavericks at full strength in some way because, Anthony Davis and Luka, it's been a crazy year for the Mavericks. So with that being said, since January 1st, which is kind of a better barometer for who the Mavericks are or who they've been, 19th in net rating, 21st in offensive rating, 21st in defensive rating. The Mavericks, they don't have really any forwards or bigs. They definitely don't have any bigs tonight. Moses Brown is now gone per the Stein line. The Mavericks were forced to let Moses Brown go after just one 10-day contract because they cannot stay beneath the NBA's first luxury apron unless they keep the roster spot that belonged to Brown open from now until April 10th. I mean, that's just some ridiculous stuff that I don't even want to waste my time getting into. The bottom line is that the Mavericks are kind of screwed right now, and it's tough because Kyrie's no spring chicken, and they're really using some hard-earned miles on Kyrie and, honestly, Klay Thompson just to keep the boat afloat. And the whole reason you traded Luka has essentially gone out the window with Anthony Davis being injured. So now you have Kyrie, Max Christie, who I do think Max Christie is going to be a really good player. But Kyrie, Max Christie, Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, not really known for his offensive prowess. Kai Jones, maybe, and Dwight Powell, maybe. So, Kyle, I thought it was interesting, and we'll recheck the line as we get into prop talk and things like that. There's an obvious pick in prop talk. The question is, do you fall for the trap? And we'll discuss who that is. It's pretty obvious, but we'll discuss who that is when we get there. I don't know. To me, this is a scary enough game, as we talked about the Quentin Grimes 44 burger against the Warriors this weekend. This, to me, is not the Hornets. I do not feel as confident as I did against the Hornets, who truly had nobody outside of Miles Bridges and LaMelo. To me, I probably should feel more confident about this game than I do, because Kyrie is one of those guys where I don't know why it is. And we talked a little bit about it as far as the size maybe being a question and really just how they play and Kyrie being Kyrie. There are guys that Keon Ellis can lock down. There are guys that Keon Ellis kind of struggles with. And going back to last season, which really was Keon's first taste of the big leagues. But, you go back to the Kyries of the world and the Jalen Brunson of the world, these shiftier guys tend to give Keon some trouble. Now, I just named off two of the best scorers in the league. So the fact that I'm saying that is, well, obviously, right? But the way we've seen Keon shut down kind of other guys like Steph Curry at times, there are some guys that Keon does have trouble with, and Kyrie tends to be one of those guys. So, if Max Christie or Klay is just going to go on a heater, I'm not too anytime Keon is not in, dare I say, if Keon is in, I'm throwing doubles at Kyrie. I'm not letting Kyrie do what Kyrie wants to do. And if Max Christie goes Quentin Grimes with the 44 burger, or Klay Thompson turns back the clock, I'm just wear it. But we talked about the same thing with CJ McCollum. There is one guy. Now, I'm not saying fully sell out because these are NBA players, and if you leave Klay Thompson open, he'll at least burn you for 20 if you're just not paying attention to him. And same thing with Max Christie. They do have shooters. And I think that's what scares me about this team. A fully loaded Rockets team that has struggled to shoot the three ball doesn't worry me as much as a broken down Mavs team that can shoot the three ball, because you have one guy in Kyrie Irving that causes so much commotion and is going to demand so much attention. Guys that can touch the paint. How many times, close your eyes, especially, but not if you're driving, how many times have we seen one guy break into the paint? It looks like every Kings player on the court collapses, and then they spray out to any three-point shooter that they want. That is the Achilles heel of the Kings, and the Rockets don't really do that. And that's why I think the Kings match up pretty well with the Rockets. Even though Tari Eason did kill him a bit, you have a guy in Kyrie and even Max Christie. When you pull in these dudes and you kick out to the Klay Thompsons or the Kyries of the world, it just worries me. It really worries me. Let's continue to break down the Kings Mavericks and what is going to happen, what should happen tonight in Dallas. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sacktown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for three, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Save Mart and McKee Brothers Plumbing and Rooter Incorporated. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
We wanna see you with it, sure could treat you right. Give me just a minute of your time tonight. We won't
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on YouTube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
This is a new one. 530 says, how would you guys feel about starting Keegan at the 5 so you can start Keon at the 2 against Kyrie? So obviously Valanciunas. So you have Keon at the 5 essentially because they don't have a center. And what is the deal with Dwight Powell?
He exists.
And he's on the roster.
He is on the roster. He might play. He might not. He's not really a center either. He's kind of a power forward.
Yeah.
But they straight up don't have a center.
Yeah, and I think what we might find is Najee Marshall can play a little bit of center. So to the 530's point, if they went with Najee Marshall and it's not really playing Keegan at center. There's just no center on the floor.
Yeah.
Would you think about doing that? It's not that I'm completely against it. I just don't think that there's been any time. I think you want to start Keegan so Trey Lyles doesn't really help there, and you're not going to sit Keegan. So I hear what you're saying, 530. I don't think it's egregious. I just think there's not enough time to randomly say, hey Keegan, you're playing the 5 tonight. If there was enough time, let's say that the Mavericks had been running Najee Marshall at center for the last 5 games, and we all knew that that's what they were going to do because that's what they had been doing, then maybe Doug would have worked on it. I just don't think it's something that Doug is going to randomly premiere in a game of this magnitude, especially when, let's not sleep on, look, Kyrie is a dog, and I know that. But I would make the argument you could run doubles at Kyrie, right, and try to survive that way. I'd rather run doubles at Kyrie and see if Max Christie or Klay Thompson is going to beat you. Meanwhile, on the other end, let's not forget what Jonas Valanciunas can do offensively. He can do some things offensively as well. So I would rather take advantage of the fact that they don't have a center versus trying to go toe-to-toe with them with small ball. If they go small ball, take Keegan out of position and obviously you have Keon on Kyrie, but Kyrie is still Kyrie. Yeah, so that's why I don't think it's a crazy idea, but there are a couple reasons I wouldn't do it. And one of them is less about Keon on Kyrie and more about let's take advantage of Jonas Valanciunas on the floor.
Yeah, you do matchups like that when you don't think you're as good as the team you're playing on the floor. So I just say it's an unnecessary swap because if Dallas is that desperate for a starting center, you don't have to play down to their level by taking a starting center off the floor.
Yeah.
And maybe you're arguing the trade-offs you get from having Keon on Kyrie is worth it, but you can just put Keon in the game for Malik Monk. It doesn't have to be this galaxy brain we're matching up with what Dallas is doing when you're just a better team, right? You don't have to do that if you're just better.
Yeah, and I don't think that it is worth it, especially, this season. And I wouldn't do it. I'm looking here. Someone chimed in and said, what is Keon's career high in steals? He just had it, actually. He had 5 steals against the Rockets, and they go on to say, whatever it is, I predict that he surpasses it tonight. So 916 is saying 6 steals for Keon Ellis. That's a lot of steals. I don't know about that.
I really just be chilling for real.
I know you have been.
I really just be chilling for real.
I was trying to pull Kyrie in 23 games against the Kings. He has averaged 23.9 points. I'm trying to find exactly this season because it feels like he plays pretty well against the Kings. And you think Kyrie's the only guy that can beat them. How is this happening? And going back to last season when they had Kyrie, it's a little bit different there. But he's not a guy that I have seen Keon completely shut out, but maybe I'm wrong.
So he was out the first time they played. So in the one game they played last month, 30 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, shot 44% from the field in 44 minutes. Obviously, that game went to overtime. So, 39 minutes in regulation plus 5 minutes in overtime. And it was 39 and 7.
39 and 7. So
30 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists.
Gotcha. So he didn't put up 40 like DeMar DeRozan did, but he still got his in a game where it's very similar to this game. Not a lot of other options. So Kyrie is going to get his, and I think we should just kind of wear it and just try to limit it. To Kyle's point, and we kind of started off the show by discussing, hey, would you think about starting Keon and having Malik come off the bench tonight? This is what I said. And I think everybody would understand it. I think if this was a play-in game, maybe I'd understand it even more. But I think with the Kings rolling, right, 3-0, and Zack LaVine kind of starting to find their way a little bit, I'd rather just say, hey, man, you can look at this a couple ways. Kyrie can't score every single point, and maybe it is one of those things going back to where, when the Warriors were taking on the Cavs, LeBron would have these crazy scoring numbers, and the Warriors, their philosophy was, look, LeBron can score 50. For us, it's more about not getting the other guy's confidence. Maybe it's a situation where it's, hey, Kyrie's going to get his, but we can't let Kyrie get 25, 30 points, but then also Clay goes off for 20 and Max Christie goes off for 20. So we're not necessarily going to sell out on Kyrie unless it's the end of the game, right? Clutch time. We're not going to sell out on Kyrie and allow these other guys to get into rhythm. We'd rather just survive and just say, you're not going to drop 60. If you could drop 50 on us, and if we do our job, we should still win the basketball game.
I don't know about 50.
Maybe not 50. Maybe not 50.
If he puts up 50, they're losing.
Yeah,
but
maybe not 50, but
I'm looking at Kyrie's numbers now because you talked about his averages against the Kings, and he only played once this year. But in 7 games against the Kings since he joined the Mavericks, Kyrie's averaging 27.3 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and by the way, he's a 50, 43, 91 shooter. So he's essentially putting up 27.5 per game at 50, 40, 90 clips.
Yeah.
So Kyrie's just torched the Sacramento Kings. Doesn't matter if it's the Beam team last year or this year, and it doesn't make you feel great, but at the same time, is it going to be Dinwiddie? Is it going to be Klay Thompson? Like, just where else are they going to find any offense?
Yeah, the question is, how much do they blitz? Somebody is saying 916, does Doug have them blitz every position like Curry? Funny enough, I still think that the Mavs roster for doing that is better. That game against the Warriors was insanity, right? And they almost lost because the Warriors' others were scoring. Guy Santos, Quentin Post, they were scoring. So it actually, it worked because they won, but all you needed was one other legit score, and that thing is cooked. So I don't think they're going to blitz Kyrie every possession because I don't think that the Mavericks team is that bad. Well, yeah, I think you will lose if you blitz Kyrie every possession.
Yeah, because we were making the jokes about the Dallas Mavericks having no forwards or centers. You know what they got plenty of? Guards.
Yeah.
They've got plenty of those. They've got Kyrie. They've got Max Christie. They've got Klay Thompson. They've got Dinwiddie. They've got Omax. They've got Jaden Hardy.
And didn't Dinwiddie go off in that first game where Kyrie and Luka didn't play?
Yeah, it was Dinwiddie and P.J. Washington, which fortunately no P.J. Washington tonight, but they got 7 guards. They just have 2 forwards and centers on the entire roster. So don't get it twisted. The Mavericks have scorers and the Mavericks have players. It's why the spread is only 2 points, despite the fact that Dallas has no center and 2 total forwards on the roster. Because they can't even play Kessler because he's on the 2-way maximum contract at this point.
I do think the line is a little bit disrespectful. I know there's no Domas, but I do think that line is a little bit disrespectful. On the other side, we talk about the injury report and who is in, who is out for the Kings and Mavericks as they tip off at 5:30 p.m. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Thousands of years ago, ancient civilizations used leather for water skins, armor, and sandals. Hi, this is Franklin Rosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Today, leather is one of nature's most luxurious products. The combination of leather with beautifully designed furniture creates an end product that adds luxury and sophistication to any room. During Naturewood Home Furnishings leather sale, you'll find their considerable selection of leather is flexible, breathable, natural, and maybe most important, comfortable. Whether you're a relaxed contemporary kind of person or you're more classic leather, Naturewood Home Furnishings has color choices and styles to fit your home. In fact, I doubt any store can beat Naturewood's selection. During Naturewood's leather sale, all leather furniture is on sale for a limited time. Sit, enjoy the comfort of leather at Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
We rely heavily on our HVAC systems during the cold valley winters and hot valley summers. That's why there are so many HVAC companies out there. So when you need a new system or a tune-up, where do you turn? I turned to Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. Once our heater checked out, we checked in at leesair.com. The entire experience exceeded our high expectations. You want prompt service from people who know what they're doing, can save you money, and will treat you right? For your HVAC needs, Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating on the web at leesair.com. Ask about their $99 HVAC tune-up service, license number 635355. And now a brief history of the garage door. Garage doors could date back to 450 BC when chariots were stored in gatehouses. Here in the States, they became a thing around the start of the 20th century. You could find a float-over door in a catalog way back in 1906. National Garage Door has been around since 1974. They're family-owned and operated, so you can trust them to solve any garage door issues you may have. Squeaky door, malfunctioning door, or a need for a new door, which is what prompted us to give them a call, 916-638-4554. At National Garage Door Service is their number one priority. I've witnessed that commitment in my own home, certainly in our garage. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer-branded garage doors. They are the nation's BSE broken spring experts. So if you have a garage door that looks and sounds like it dates back to 450 BC, National Garage Door can help, whether it's a garage door tune-up, repair, or replacement you need. They'll take care of you at National Garage Door, 916-638-4554. That's 916-638-4554. National Garage Door.
One ticket, two huge shows. The Sacramento Boat Show and the Big RV Show. Multiple dealers discounting all the best brands. March 6th through 9th at Sacramento's Cal Expo. Find discounts at twohugeshows.com.
Shop top brand tires at Big O with the lowest tire price guarantee. Now through March 16th at Big O Tires, get up to $100 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Nexen, Nitto, or Toyo tires. Installation required. Disposal fees extra. Not good with other offers. See Big O dealer for details.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
All righty. Well, life is all about flexibility, and we're going to be a little bit flexible today as our engineers are hard at work making sure everything is perfect for that Kings-Mavs game. So we're going to get out of here a little bit early in about 10 minutes. So we're going straight into dog and prop talk. And I'm just going to start here, Kyle, as we get into, well, first of all, I got to double check. I think your streak is over with DeRozan, right?
Okay, so sort of, because DeRozan didn't get to 30 points. But also no Kings got to 30 points, and he was the leading scorer. So is the streak really over? He was still the Kings' leading scorer.
Hey, you're the one that was running around saying 30 points, 30 points. I would say the streak still lives. I think the streak still lives.
Yeah, he had 21, but he was the Kings' leading scorer. So I feel like I get props for that one. Also, he fought Dylan Brooks, sort of, and ended up, I don't think he really...
That makes him a dog.
Yeah, he is a dog, all right. He's a bigger dog than Dylan.
That dog is ugly.
Yeah, thank you. As we break down, all right, Kyle, we'll do dog first, we'll do prop talk first, then we will do dog and predictions. And everyone knows who I'm predicting because I want to get my 3-0. I just want to get it out the way before the Nuggets. Okay, Kyle, let me give you a guess here. When I said there was... And by the way, I love everybody chiming in on the text line and the Sack chat and also on Twitter about prop talk, about when we're right and when we're wrong. Some of you have been tailing us, and now your kids will get to go to college. Hey, we're very happy for you, okay? And some of you chime in and you hit me up on social media, on Instagram, whatever it is, with your picks for prop talk, and I've tailed some of you, or my friend has tailed some of you. So really like the prop talk community that we're building here, and I want to keep this thing going, Kyle. Before I get to my pick, when I said there's an obvious one, do you know who I'm talking about?
It's Valanciunas, maybe?
Valanciunas.
That's the obvious pick here, right? So it scares me. When something is too obvious, it scares me. But that's the obvious pick. I don't know how much we'll see of Trey Lyles. Obviously, the Mavericks don't have a big body that Jonas Valanciunas necessarily has to match up with. So just to let you know, his first game essentially starting, because Sabonis was out pretty early, his first game, he had 30 points, rebounds, assists, okay? He's set at 29. It feels like a trap. It feels very trappy to me.
I mean, he's going to need a lot of rebounds to get to that.
And he had 15 last game. So for him to have 15 points and still only get to 30 makes me feel like it's kind of trappy.
Yeah, I that's too rich for my blood, I would say, for Valanciunas. So I mean, it is. It's going to be Najee Marshall probably starting at center. Now that I think about it, I don't know who they're going to start at the 4. Maybe Omax, but it's probably going to be Najee Marshall, which I just don't know what the offense is going to look like. We didn't talk about this much today. Maybe we were going to do that in the game preview, but with no Anthony Davis, no PJ Washington, no Derek Lively, no Daniel Gafford, no Caleb Martin, they don't have any centers. So I don't know what the rotations are going to look like.
Right, and it's a good point because it could be more Trey Lyles than we think. It could be a lot of Trey Lyles tonight.
It could be, but we didn't talk about it again. I just have no idea how the Kings have to completely rethink how they do offense without Sabonis now. And it worked out fine in the Houston game, but that also took a little bit of everybody. I think 6 different players had 12 or more points in that game. So I don't think that little bit of everyone strategy is the greatest. So if you want to believe in Vasuino wants us, I guess.
I want to take it because that's the obvious thing, but I don't think I'm taking it.
So then who are you going to take?
The last 4 games he has not hit, and he's turning into my new eventually it does have to hit. Malik Monk has not been over 19 points in the last 4 games. 16 against Houston, 13 against Utah, 13 against Charlotte, 13 against the Warriors. Last time was before the All-Star break. I keep hammering it until it actually happens. Give me Malik Monk. He gets the 20 points tonight. He has to. He has to.
All right, Allen. It's our last time this year, I think, getting to play the Dallas Mavericks, which means it's my last chance to give you the easiest bit of betting advice or prop talk advice or whatever you want to call it of the season. Klay Thompson.
Oh, my goodness.
Who, last time he played at Golden One Center, posted 0 points for the first time in his career.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson is set at 16.5 points tonight. You're telling me that this dude, this barely 75 best player in NBA history by his own account, this guy thinks that he's going to take on the Sacramento Kings and he's going to be able to hit a single 3-pointer. You've got to be out of your mind. The Kings own this man. The Kings ended his career for all intents and purposes. The ghosts, like Sam Darnold, he's seeing ghosts every time the Kings take on Klay Thompson. Now, did Klay Thompson hit the should-have-been game-winning 3 in the last game? Don't worry about it. Klay Thompson is going to be under 16.5. He's going to be under 15.5, 10.5. He might even be under 5.5 tonight. His only points are going to come at the free throw line. Why? Because Klay Thompson's just a merchant at this point.
No, he doesn't even get to the free. He doesn't drive.
Yeah. But he doesn't shoot anything other than threes and free throws.
Kyle,
so
he had 22 last 3 games. 22 against the Lakers, 18 against the Hornets, 16 against the Bucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were any of those games against the Sacramento Kings? I'm sorry. I don't think so.
This is what you did last. Look, 530 said no.
What are you worried about Klay Thompson? Where's the confidence, people? They held Klay Thompson to 0 points in his last game with the Golden State Warriors.
How long are you going to hang on to that?
Are you kidding me? Forever. The Sacramento Kings ended the Warriors' big 3 by putting up Klay Thompson's first 0-point game since Mark Jackson was his head coach.
Look, it's not me.
Kings fans should hold on to that for the rest of time, that they ended the Warriors.
Yes, now that specifically, yes. I'm saying Klay had he had one of the worst games of his career.
The worst game of his career.
But I'm telling you, Kyle, he's been playing better these last couple games. I would just be very careful. You almost blew the game. You almost blew the last game against the Mavs.
In my mind, Klay Thompson's career ended the night that Scott Freshour hit the night on him on the court as the Kings were eliminating the Warriors. In my mind, Klay Thompson's never played another NBA game since then. Nothing he does after this will matter.
Okay. I hope you're right.
The Kings ended that man's career, and they will continue to haunt him for the rest of time. So, yeah, Klay Thompson, no points tonight.
Okay. Here we go again. All right. Let's get to the dog segment.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
It's time for our dog segment.
Who let the dogs out?
916-339-1140. Text line and Sack Chat. Who is your dog of the game? Who is going to make the play when the play needs to be made? Who is going to ball out? Who is going to be that dog tonight? Could it be Keon Ellis? Could it be Zack LaVine? Could it be Jake LaRavia? Could it be Jonas Valanciunas? Who will be your dog of the game? Different to prop talk because you can't measure heart and you can't measure dog. Kyle, who do you have as your dog of the game?
I shouldn't do it again, right? We can't do it back to back.
No.
We're already playing with fate a little bit because he was their leading scorer in the Houston game, but he didn't get to 30. So I think despite the fact he put up 41 last time against Dallas.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
So you know what? I'm going to go with the kind of surprise nomination, but win nonetheless. Western Conference Player of the Week.
Okay.
I'll take Zack LaVine tonight to be a 30-point scorer for the Kings.
I like that, Kyle. I like it a lot. I think that these guys all have, like I said again, that chip on their shoulder just as far as everyone knows that the Kings get talked about a lot, and sometimes it's not in a great way. And I do like what I'm seeing from the Kings as far as just banding together. And, of course, Doug is the right person for the job in that regard. You know, I know Keegan had a really good game in Utah, but I am liking what I'm seeing from Keegan Murray as long as they don't have him on Kyrie too much. And that I would be worried about that if somebody's looking at Keegan's rebounds. I know no Sabonis, but I would be careful with that because if he's chasing around Kyrie, he ain't going to be in position for rebounds. So I'd be careful there. But a lot of times in these matchups, we're so concerned with the other guy and everyone is paying attention to their guy. No one pays attention to who's guarding them. And like I said, I don't know how much Keegan will be on Kyrie. I hope it's not that much. But you know what? Give me Keegan Murray. Give me Keegan Murray as the dog tonight. What's up, Sacramento? Give me Keegan Murray, the 916.
What's up, Vancouver?
916 is agree. Give me engaged Keegan Murray. That's who I'm talking about right now.
Love of my life. Happiest time
he's ever been. 916 says Keegan is my dog tonight. 530 says, come on, Mr. LaRavia, let's go. Big defensive stand. And over 10 points for Jake LaRavia. He did hit a three. So you never know what's going to happen there. Tony, the Lone Rider Smith, says Zach is going off. He said Zach's going off in Denver, so he's already looking forward to Denver. Tony, who's going off in Dallas? As we, like I said, some technical stuff is going on to make sure you get the best experience possible on the home of your Sacramento Kings. So we are done a little bit early. Real quick, Kyle, I know we're up against it, but we had to take one more look as Dat Ninja says that he has Keon Ellis going off from three as he will do. Yeah, Keon has been up on his numbers, and, he could easily keep that going. So I see you on that. The line is still -2 for the Kings, which I know there's no Domantas Sabonis, but come on. It's disrespectful. I don't know if it's a blowout, but I will walk in here with some stunner shades on, as I will be the only person at this station to predict 3-1 or better on this road trip, because the Kings take care of business. They beat the Mavericks, and everyone says, oh my goodness, they were going to be 1-3 or 0-4, 2. No, there's one show, and I told you the Kings would go 3-1, and they might go 4-0. I got the Kings winning. I don't know by how much. I don't know if it's a blowout, but Kings get the W, and they get the 3 wins on this road trip.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions, plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports.